Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Happy Monday to everybody. It's a special edition, man. Thumbs up in the chat already, man. Welcome everybody to the year-end wrap up. 2024 has been a very interesting year in hip hop. It's been a very interesting year for this show. And I'm going to get some more people in here. We're going to talk about the format of what we're about to do here. We're about to. This is an annual tradition here at According to Hip Hop. What we do is the According to Hip Hop Awards, and we are about to break down the year 2024. What's up, Smiles and Waves? And I have my esteemed panel that's about to actually come on. And, we're going to run through the year, man. We got Ron, we got Super Duper, we got Leroy Green, and we got Cervon. I think we may have another special guest possibly. But yes, this is going to be epic stuff. We're going to give awards out like MC of the Year, Disappointing Album of the Year, Hater of the Year, Song of the Year. And what we're going to do to actually make this interactive and make this about the people, because According to Hip Hop's always been about the people. We're going to put all of the nominations from each individual panelist into the poll, and we're going to have people poll it, and we're going to actually come up with a winner. We're going to post it on our social media. So we're going to give out these awards, but we're going to be interactive with the people and get the people involved. I do want to speak to 2024 as a year in hip hop. I think it was a very, very interesting year. I think it's going to be one of those years that we will remember in many ways. But I do think that if we're going to zero in on one thing that happened this year and what is going to stand out in hip hop history this year, it has to be Drake and Kendrick. And I don't want to just make a blanket statement there. I think the way that this whole thing built and the way the whole thing started is really important. It's a lot of factors and a lot of players in this event, if you will. And it starts with Metro and Future dropping their album. And I remember when I was in the whip listening, this was like 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting there listening to this album for the first time. And then when I'm hearing like that, me as a 3 6 Mafia fan, I'm hearing, obviously everlasting bass, but I'm hearing like what Teddy Club Up Thugs did with Who the Crunk is in this motherfucker. And I'm like, okay, here goes Metro again, taking on some 3 6 vibes and flipping it. And then I heard Kendrick come in. I'm like, because, they didn't put his name on the credits or anything. I'm like, oh, is that Kendrick? And then I heard him throwing shots at Drake. And then I heard him possibly throwing shots at Cole. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's on. And I remember the show that we did after that. Everybody was ignited and everybody was excited about what was to come. I think a lot of people felt that, this was going to be something that would determine who had the crown between Cole and Kendrick. And, that didn't pan out. And we're going to speak about a little bit of that on today's show, I'm sure. But this turned into a Drake and Kendrick matchup. And the way that this matchup was handled and the way this bout took place and unfolded, I think is one for the history books. This is a modern day mainstream hip hop back and forth. We didn't have to wait forever for I don't want to say we didn't have to wait forever, because I will say this. Drake gave us a lot of material and it had us waiting on what Kendrick had coming. When Kendrick came with his, it was like boom, 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 boom. That's something we didn't expect. Bamir Thoughts with the super chat. Hold on, let me switch something up over here. Bamir Thoughts checking in. He says, was Diddy's arrest bigger than Drake and Kendrick? I will say this, and we're going to speak on Diddy a little bit today too. Thumbs up in the chat. I do think that these are two different things. And I think that, obviously they're two different things. But I think I spoke to this in the previous show when we were talking about the promotion for Dr. Dre and Snoop's album produced by Dr. Dre. I think that there's a certain demographic, a certain age range that pays more attention to, I guess, the more newsworthy things as opposed to the actual music. I don't think it's a bigger story because it wasn't about the music. Now, was it shocking? Yes. Everything with Diddy, very shocking. But again, I think this is something that is continuing to unfold. And I think we got to watch this unfold just like we watched the whole Young Thug thing unfold too. The Diddy thing is it's 2024, but I think it's going to be one of those things that carries over into 2025 as well. I do think that from a historical standpoint, this Kendrick and Drake back and forth is more cemented in 2024 than Diddy is, or Diddy's arrest, if you will, is. But again, both incredibly shocking. But again, one of those things where which means more to the music and which means more to, I guess, popular culture headlines, if you will. So yeah. Oh, what's good with you, Frank Wizard, man? We're really gonna get into it today, man. For the people who are just getting in, what we're gonna do with this format today, I'm gonna have my esteemed panelists, Ron, Super Duper, Cervon, and Leroy Green on the show. We're gonna go through this year of 2024. We're gonna name the accolades for, or at least our nominees for MC of the Year, Album of the Year, Slept On Album of the Year, Lyricist of the Year, Freestyle of the Year, you name it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put those nominations into the poll, and we're gonna let people judge this. Now, granted, I'm one of those people that, we had a group chat for all the guys that are going to be on the panel today, and the group chat was blowing up, man. And we'll talk about it when they get on, but I couldn't even keep up with the group chat. It was just so much information, so much conversation going on. And one of the things that I saw in there was Leroy was kind of convincing me that the Common and Pete Rock album could be better than Snoop's album. And then I went back and listened to Snoop's album. I'm gonna stand firm on my Album of the Year nomination for Snoop's album. But again, let me go back to this Drake and Kendrick thing. The way that the Drake and Kendrick battle unfolded, I think is very pivotal for where hip hop went this year. I think it was very pivotal for the year that Kendrick had. The fact that Kendrick was able to drop the album that he dropped with the momentum that he had. I think that Song of the Year, the runaway song of the year, has to be Not Like Us. Now, do I think Not Like Us is the best song I've heard all year? No. I think the best hip hop song I've heard all year was Common's This Man. That's me. That would be my nomination for best hip hop song. But song of the year, Not Like Us. I think when we look back at this calendar year of 2024, we have to say Not Like Us is the one that ran everything. I think a lot of you guys are going to be surprised with my verse of the year nomination. Freestyle of the year, we had some good candidates for that as well. We're going to get into that. But as far as this battle, I know we've had this record of the year as a category in previous years on According to Hip Hop. And Story of AOTY was a winner in 2018, excuse me. Not every year we have a diss record of the year, but we definitely had a diss record this year. We had a lot of diss records, actually. Many people put Euphoria up there, but again, I think Not Like Us, once again, has to be diss record of the year. Now, we were kind of messing around with a notion in our group chat about, I guess most memorable bar and things like that. And I think that's something that we can actually speak about on here. Maybe those are some things that we could just talk about on the show and not have to give an actual award for. But 2024 has been a very eventful year. And I think that for a lot of people, they felt like it was a weak year. I've heard that notion. But when I look at the albums that came out this year, the quality that came out, the people that dropped, the consistency of this year, I think we just didn't really get a runaway album of the year like we have in previous years. I think we just got a lot of really good albums that, could hold their own in other years. They may not have won album of the year in a previous year, but I think when we look back at this year, this is going to look like one of those very fair and balanced years. You had somebody like Master Ace dropping what he dropped. Blue and Exile dropped what they dropped. You had Kendrick dropping what he dropped. You had Freddie Gibbs dropping the album that he dropped. And you had Killer Mike dropping the album that he dropped. It was a lot of really good quality. And shout out to LP in the building, man. LP is in the building. He said a lot of quality but no classics. I think that's an interesting notion. I think time will tell what is classic in this year. Y'all know what my album of the year pick is. I got Snoop's Missionary. I do think that in years to come, Missionary could possibly be considered classic. I do believe that. I do believe that there's a possibility for Common and Pete Rock's Auditorium Volume 1 to be considered a classic. And I think that Killer Mike's album possibly one day could be considered such. But I will agree, we have no instant classics. We have nothing that we can sit there and say, you know what, right now, this is what everybody was bumping. This is what everybody was on. Um, I'm not really as sold on GNX as other people are. And again, I know y'all probably gonna say I'm a Kendrick hater or whatever, but I listened to the album. That was the other day. I've listened to the album back and forth and back. Wasn't really. I mean, it was a good album. And maybe it's because I know what Kendrick can do. I think Kendrick has set a tone for himself and set a standard for himself on what he can do from a classic level. And I don't think that that album hit that mark. And really, if we're being honest about it, when you think about the people who dropped this year, I think everybody kind of was facing the curse of their previous works. I mean, as good as the Common and Pete album is, we're not going to say it's better than B, or we're not going to say it's better than like Water for Chocolate and things like that. Same thing with Freddie. Freddie dropped a very dope album, but is it Alfredo? And I think that that is one of the big things that happened. Yeah, okay, that's one of the big things that happened when it comes to this year. It was a lot of people with very deep catalogs and very heralded efforts that dropped this year. And I mean, look at Snoop Dogg. And Snoop dropped an album with Dr. Dre, and 30 years later, people are still comparing it to Doggy Style. Laura with the super chat says, Redman, Muddy Waters 2. I want to speak to Muddy Waters 2 real quick because 2025 predictions. I see that on the screen. I don't think we've gotten there yet. I want to speak to Redman's Muddy Waters 2. I know it's very, very early in the Muddy Waters 2 conversation because it dropped on Christmas Eve. And we do normally cover these things fairly quickly. But from what I heard, I was pleasantly surprised with Muddy Waters 2. Now, y'all know me. Anybody who watches this channel knows that I don't love the sequels to classic pieces of work. Once again, I was just talking about the pressures of, your previous work and being compared to your previous work. You automatically put that target on the efforts back. But my only critique so far with Redman's Muddy Waters 2 is the fact that it had 32 tracks. I thought that may have been somewhat of an overkill. But I mean, I like where Redman's at. I was really impressed with the production on it too, because that's not really what I expected. Again, Muddy Waters is one of my favorite albums ever. Redman was in a zone on Muddy Waters. 96 was a very tough year in hip hop. You had Reasonable Doubt drop, you had It Was Written drop, you had Tupac Running the World with All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, Iron Man drop. It was so much. ATLians, the Fugees dropped the score. So for a lot of people, Redman's Muddy Waters could have slipped through the cracks. Muddy Waters, don't get it confused, is an epic tutorial in straight up lyricism, bully foot rap. Mom, your thoughts with the super chat says, I got Freddie's project for album of the year. I keep going back to it. I'm not mad at that. And I think that Freddie's album definitely deserves that. I think that for whatever reason, Freddie gets, I don't want to say slept on, but he gets overlooked even when he drops some of his best works. Now, what did you guys think was the most disappointing album of the year before we get the panel on? Because I'm about to get our guys on right now. Let's see who we got. People about to jump on. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do it like this. Let's go ahead and get the panel on. I think I can kind of introduce everybody individually. Now, for the people who watched The Weekend Rhyme, you probably are familiar with, Leroy and Ron and Super Duper. For the people who watch Mic Check, I'm sure you're familiar with myself and Cervon. So, Leroy, if you're in the building, I want you to step to the plate, sir. We got Leroy Green, who is going to be one of our panelists today.
Leroy is not in the building right now. I don't know
Okay,
where
who's
Leroy
in the building right now? So we can so we can go ahead or is anybody in the building?
I'm the only one in the building. I'm waiting for everybody else to
Okay,
get
well,
on.
let's get Ron in the building. Come on. And then as people come in, then,
No, I take
then
that back. Leroy is here. Let's go.
Okay.
Leroy, he just jumped on. Here's Leroy.
Leroy said, "I'm here, guys." All right, Leroy's in the building, man. How you doing, sir?
You know it. And why you trolling like ain't you tired trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor?
Is that the bar of the year? Come on now.
Bro, it gotta be. It gotta be.
I guess, man, but you know what? This would be my my pushback on that. He got that bar from Twitter. I mean,
he just jumped on. Here's Leroy.
Leroy said, "I'm here, guys." We're getting echoes in the building, man. Hold on. Somebody mute something because we're getting echoes. Was that you, Leroy?
Nah,
that was super. That was super. That was super.
Okay, yeah, we gotta turn your volume down. We gotta turn the volume down.
Though, that was the rebuttal because Drake said something about day free, and then Kendrick with the double entendre punchline.
No. Did Kendrick not get that bar from Twitter?
I don't know. But listen. Low key, to be honest with everybody out there, if you look on Twitter, you're gonna find great bars. If you look on Instagram, you're gonna find great bars. People, hey, now do with that with what you want to do with that. But I'm just referring to people's faces. If you go back to when people were reacting to Not Like Us, when he gets to that part, he's trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. If you look at people's face light up like,
okay, well, we see what you got for this record of the year. We see what you got for this record of the year. Okay, all right. Well, the next panelist is coming in. Ron, you in the building?
Yeah.
I am in the building. I'm in the building. What's going on, brothers?
What's good? What's good? Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. We got Super Duper in the building.
Super Duper's in the building. What's good, brother?
Good.
Duper.
Super, how we doing, sir?
What's happening, man? What's good? What's happening?
I'm good, man. I had to crank out the Miller Lite, man. It's Miller time.
Hey, there is for real. I need to join. I need to join.
Yo, the Fat Joe discussion was incredible. We're going to talk about that in too, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too off course here, you know.
Well, and, let's get to it. We waiting for Cervon.
Want to get to the Fat Joe discussion?
No, let's get to the Lyricist of the year.
Hey,
okay.
I got on the hat. They're defending the culture. That's what it's about. Defending the culture. They're gonna be like, it's just about Jay. Nah, we defending the whole culture. FBA. I got 4 words for 2025. Keep the same energy. That's it.
All right. Let's get to our first award. We had Lyricist of the Year. Leroy, I don't know if you wanted to tee it up. We had Kendrick Lamar. Leroy, you can go first on this top. We had Kendrick Lamar, Rhapsody, Freddie Gibbs, Lupe, and J. Cole. What say you, Leroy? Then Mike.
Oh man. See that's a loaded question, my guy. But you know, I mean, everybody went crazy though. You know, so it's kind of tough. You say you got Lupe, you got Kendrick, you got J. Cole, right?
Rhapsody, and Freddie Gibbs.
Okay. You know what? I may have to go. I'm gonna be controversial. I may have to go J. Cole with this one. I may have to go J. Cole. Let me explain. Because everybody was on his head top, you know what I mean, for this year. But he was rapping though. That's one thing people don't want to say. They was like, oh well, he didn't jump in the battle. 7-minute drill is kind of vicious. If you low key go, you know what I mean? So, but I mean, it's an album on top of that. My Delete Later is an album. Now, if we don't talk about bars, I mean, you know, now my album of the year is Common Sense. That includes lyrics. But if I have to just say strictly lyricism, this year I'm gonna give it to J. Cole because usually I'm the one that's bashing J. Cole. So I'm gonna be cool this year.
Mike, Mike, what say you, sir?
All right, well, this is where I'm gonna go. Lyricist of the year, I got Freddie Gibbs. I think that Freddie went out there and exhibited everything that a lyricist needs to exhibit on this project. Now, again, I'm conflicted. I would say Kendrick, because Kendrick did his thing in this battle. I think you got records like Euphoria. You got records like
I don't know everybody
Meet
was
the
on.
Rams. And there was a lot of lyrics that were flying from Kendrick this year. But I'm just baffled how J. Cole even gets a nomination. I just feel like, the brother got to be disqualified, man.
I agree.
He put out an album entitled it, I Might Delete This Later, and actually deleted the shit. And it's like, to me, that's the most, and spoiler alert, that's the most disappointing album of the year, in my opinion. Straight up.
Over
Freddie
everybody.
Gibbs. Over Benny. Over Benny, because he talked so much and had so much vibrato on this album to go out the way that he did. And it's like, that is so not hip hop. I'm sorry. I got to give Freddie Lyricist of the Year, my nomination for Lyricist of the Year. Cervon in the building.
Oh,
yes, sir.
All right, so we got one for J. Cole, Lyricist of the Year. We got one for Freddie Gibbs. What say you, Super?
No, Cervon's next. Cervon's
next.
Oh,
no, Cervon's next. My bad.
Lyricist of the year. Who we got?
We got J. Cole. We got Kendrick. We got Rhapsody. We got Lupe Fiasco. And we got Freddie Gibbs.
I think this is a no-brainer for me, man. I think it has to be Kendrick, bro.
Yeah.
Not mad at
that. Freddie actually had a good run. I think Might Delete Later actually was a solid project. I know it's a lot of people hung up on the fact that he apologized, but that album or the mixtape or project, whatever, is actually a very solid project. I like the joint on there with Daylight. Who was it? Daylight and Ab-Soul. He had some joints on that project, man. I don't get too much hung up on the apology. It was a solid project. J. Cole hasn't really delivered anything trash in some years. So, honestly, nothing trash, but the first album gets the criticism. But I think the second album redeemed itself, and it's kind of been smooth selling from that point on for him. So, but I got to give it to Kendrick, man.
Not mad. Kendrick went crazy. Crazy.
Max with the super chat says Mike's always hating on Kendrick. No hate, I like Kendrick. I'm a fan. All right, it's on you, Super.
Mike, I gotta agree with you, man. I'm gonna give it to Freddie Gibbs. I think Kendrick was nice, but I mean, I don't think lyrically he was like supreme over anybody to just say that he is a runaway winner for. So for me, I'm gonna give it to Freddie Gibbs. And I got an argument when it comes up about album of the year on why I think it should be Freddie Gibbs. I think album of the year should be Freddie Gibbs.
Wow,
that's cool.
What you got?
Well, hell might have frozen over today because I don't normally agree with Leroy, but I got to go with Leroy. I think Lyricist of the Year. If you go pound for pound, bar work. We ain't talking about the move when he, disassociated himself with the Might Delete Later joint. We're not talking about anything else. We're just talking about bar for bar. I got to give it to Cole. You got a plate full of collard greens. You got red leather. You got some bar work on Might Delete Later was dope. I got to give it to Cole. With that pen game, it's just he had a song with Cash Cobain. I got to give it to Cole, Lyricist of the Year. I mean, if we talk about writing and talk about bar work and spitting, I got to give it to Cole. That's my pick.
DJ Bruce Almighty says, how y'all don't have Doche on there? I think Doche's, female MC.
Dope.
Yeah, because we only got a few spots. You can only pick a handful of people. That's
it's only 5.
Do we have to pick the people that are, I guess, listed, or can somebody just go off the grid and say, "Yo, Doche"?
We can go off the grid. But I mean, I think we want to make sure we give it the proper perspective. I know we in the group chat she didn't come up earlier, so.
All right, well, Lyricist of the Year is in the poll right now, and we got 16 votes, and it looks like
spamming.
Close. J. Cole got 38%, Kendrick got 31%, Freddie Gibbs got 31%. how many votes y'all want to get it up to? About 50 before we call it? Looks
let's,
like Freddie done made a run.
let's
You
give
know,
it to
because
50.
this is gonna be my only thing about Freddie, because I actually have Freddie in one of my he's in my album of the year category. He was in my top 10. But one thing about this Freddie stuff, I feel like I've heard this before. That's the only thing. He's spitting, but I feel like this is like the series of stuff that I hear from Freddie before. It's quality, but like when I hear stuff like Whacked Out Murals, and where I heard what Kendrick did on Euphoria, or you know, the other diss track, the 616 joint. I'm just like, you know, when I'm hearing how what his storytelling on the Heart Part 6, or you know, I'm hearing these things in different ways on how he's doing the music, and I just feel like for me, he checked all the marks for what I was looking for. I know there's a lot of criticism of the album, but I feel like people have to realize that album wasn't done to be compared to the rest of the projects. It was done to really connect to the roots of LA and showing love to those artists and bigging them up and giving them a chance and a voice and a platform. I feel like Kendrick has presented every album in a different way. And they're all versatile and stand in their own kind of category of their own. I think he really earns that spot. No matter how people want to kind of dilute the sound of the album, I mean, he had it there, man. That's just my take.
I agree.
Well, I do think this, and I think Kendrick did a great job this year. I mean, he had an epic year, obviously, and he's actually my nominee for MC of the year for the people that think I'm hating on Kendrick. But I do think that we've heard Kendrick rap better than what we're hearing him rap now, right? I don't want to say it's more of the same, because he did step up certain levels, but I do think that there was a moment, an era of Kendrick that has been better than this. As far as Freddie goes, I don't know. I think this is some of the best I've ever heard Freddie rap. And I think that's where my, pendulum swings there.
I think Freddie, as well, concept wise, outdid Kendrick too. Like just the concept of the album, the concept of the songs on the album. I think that he will win the concept battle right now, as far as as far as I'm concerned.
That's tough. I like Freddie. Don't get me wrong. What Kendrick does is surgical. When people go back and actually break down line for line how he's just dissecting Drake, the biggest artist of this era, he just blew his head off. That's crazy. We've never seen that. You know what I mean?
He deserves. You got to give him his respect for taking out Kendrick. But how long we gonna give him that much credit? I mean, it still got to carry over to the album. Like I said, I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you.
He did it with a number of songs back to back. It wasn't one song. It was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He kept going and going and going. He's still jabbing on his albums. So it's like Kendrick went crazy. Now Freddie Gibbs, his albums are good. I'm with Freddie. I'm asking, where's great? I hear good. Where is great? What is the song, the great song that when I hear it, I'm gonna be like, that's the song? Because I've heard all of Freddie Gibbs albums. I never heard that song.
We're applauding Kendrick for rhyming over SWV's "Use Your Heart and Not Your Eyes," but not Freddie rhyming over 112's "Cupid."
He's dope. Freddie's dope. Freddie's dope.
Freddie's dope. I'm not taking away from Freddie. I just, like I said, I feel like it's not pushing the needle for him. I kind of think it keeps him on the wave that he's kind of been riding quietly a little bit. But like I said, it's in my top 10 albums of the year. I just kind of look at the impact of Kendrick this year, and then I look at him going back to the roots and taking it back to the culture of LA, kind of going to that and showing that he's from that. There's a criticism that people often give to him, and it's like he's just showing improving at this point.
Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still doubled down, calling us some slave. Atlantis was the mecca of railroads and trains. He went into a whole distance. I'm just telling you.
Don't be a hater.
I mean, like I said,
it's
hot,
but
I'm booing Leroy rapping it. I'm not booing the bars.
We were arguing over do we run culture. We were arguing over, does Black Americans create hip hop, and is it our culture? That one verse, Kendrick gave you a whole dissertation before Fat Joe even said anything.
Well, is Kendrick going to say anything to Fat Joe if he's such a
I
guard
think
for the culture.
yeah. I don't think Fat Joe is worth addressing, and I mean that respectfully. I don't mean that as
That sounds
I don't
very
think
we'll get to
respectful.
that. We'll get to
I don't think Fat Joe is big enough for the whole culture to look. Let's all focus on Fat Joe. I don't think he's big enough for all of our attention.
Let's get to
That's
that at
me.
the end of the show. At the end of the show.
All right.
Yeah.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, "Man in the Garden and Reincarnation are special."
Oh yeah.
Michael Williams in the super chat says Kendrick gets extra points for dissing, but might delete later, and You Only Die Once are more lyrical than GNX overall.
I've always liked
You
Michael
know, that's a
Williams.
fair argument.
I've always liked Michael Williams. He's my favorite
Okay.
person in the
I
chat.
agree.
It looks
It's
like
a
Kendrick's
fair
gonna
argument.
win this. We're only 36 votes in. Let's get more people in the room. Thumbs up in the chat.
Incarnation.
Yeah, Reincarnation.
When Reincarnation hits the Grammy committee, they're going to listen to that song and be blown away.
You know what Reincarnation, and I know y'all are gonna say I'm a hater, but Reincarnation to me, it highlights the fact that Kendrick doesn't have that powerful voice. He's trying to rhyme in the whole pop, you know what I'm saying, approach, and using that that and that energy, and he just doesn't have that voice. And I think it exposes that.
That's not his fault.
Push back on that a little bit. I think his voice, for what it is, has been very commanding in how he attacks records. Even when you go back to the Control verse, I think it's just like there's a way that I know some people may not like the voice, but there's a way that he kind of commands tracks. Like even how he comes on the Like That song, I kind of feel like he overshadowed what that song vibe was with that verse.
He was commanding on you.
Just how he approached the record. I mean, I'm just being honest. And then when you're a guy that likes storytelling, Reincarnation is a story.
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick is a top 10 storytelling MC all time, straight up. For sure. I don't think I've ever said that on this show, but yes, Kendrick is the top 10 storytelling.
I'm over the voice argument with Kendrick right now. I mean, I'm used to it. I'm getting used to it. You know what I mean? Like at first, it was something for me to talk about and say and have a problem with, but as time going on and I'm starting to appreciate the way he's starting to use his voice. At times he can get annoying if he get annoying with the voice and I'm not liking the antics on the song, I just skip it. But for the most part, I'm starting to get used to Kendrick and the antics and the voice thing. Right. So I'm not gonna hold that against him very much, like moving forward.
Well, it looks like Kendrick's gonna win Lyricist of the Year here. He has 45% to J. Cole's 31%. To Freddie Gibbs, 24%, and we're 42 votes in, so it looks like he's going to win that one.
Yeah, 8 more votes.
For Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, Cervon, you want to tee up Rookie of the Year?
Yep, yes, sir. Hit me with the who we have.
We got for Rookie of the Year. Let me make sure I got all the people. We got Big X the Plug from Dallas, Texas. Big X the Plug. We got Lay Banks, Boss Man D-Lo, That Mexican OT, and Cash Cobain. I know this topic was kind of controversial in our group chat earlier. I know we had one panelist that wasn't with we won't call that person's name, but we wanted to show love. I think Super and Cervon and Mike were saying we needed to show people the new generation love, so that's why we got this topic in here. So Cervon, out of the people that I named, who is hip hop's Rookie of the Year?
Man, this was one.
Or people who we didn't name. If you think there's somebody else who should get it that's not on here.
I actually like this list of Rookie of the Year. I actually had Big X the Plug in one of my top 10 albums this year, but I think it was objectively Boss Man D-Lo's year as Rookie of the Year. He had 2 viral big songs from him going on ESPN and announcing, his album dropping. I just feel like he was a viral internet sensation that has been able to consistently show that he has something to offer to the game, and I'm actually looking forward to hearing what he has. My personal favorite is Big X, but I think D-Lo had a very big year this year.
LP with the super chat says, still feel the pressure and the tension from my past tension. Gunshots, man, crying. These sound like blackness, tears in my pillow as I lay in the dark, broken souls, but I mastered turning pain into art. Bars.
Whose bars is that? Whose bars is that? You know what I mean? But it sounds Kendrick-ish.
It
You know what I mean?
sounds Kendrick. Yes.
It counts Kendrick. Hey, I mean, everybody's spitting really. So it's like anybody you pick, they spitting. Rookie of the year, I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. I have my own thing. There's no wrong answer because rookie of the year is just how you
I mean,
feel. But I
one
need to
thing
know
I
Can I go?
what are the
Let me-
songs that gonna have me be like, okay, you know what I mean?
I
for,
think Boss Man D-Lo is a great pick. I like Big X the Plugs project,
me too.
but I think, and it, you know, and let me start off here. I think it's very difficult to determine who's a rookie and who's not in this day and time because everybody has a mixtape that dates back a couple of years, and you know what I mean. Like you never really catch anybody at the ground floor. So it's more of a breakthrough artist type of award now. And with that being said, I think Doche is my pick for that.
Yeah, I'm not
I
arguing
think
against that. I was about to
that's
say
a
she's
breakthrough.
somebody who should have been added to this. I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah, I
Um,
think she's the answer for me.
but the
I,
reason why I have to push back a little on that is because she came. Alligator Bites Never Heal came out a couple months ago or a month ago or whatever, but it's catching up to people. She had the
Yeah,
Tiny Desk concert. She's making noise, but it comes in this latter part. I can't kind of put her above a guy that's been making noise since the top of the year. And
I think that's
all
fair.
Big X the Plug is my personal favorite out of these people because his album was a good album. He makes good music, but I feel like Bossman D-Lo, he just kind of took over as far as the internet. He kind of took over the sensation things. He had 2 big singles. He has this project coming. I mean, I just can't go against a guy that's been making noise and firing stuff up all year.
What's his special power, man? What's his special? Everybody on my list, they got a special power. They not just dope. They ain't just popping, but they have a unique power too. So, what's his special ability? You know what I mean? If he's an X-Man.
Telekinesis, Leroy. Super.
Um,
What's your thoughts?
I, I,
I got Makami, right? Makami, we all know Makami. His vinyl's selling for like $7,000.
He ain't a
So his
rookie though.
special
Mark's
no,
been
he's not a
around
rookie.
for a minute.
I know, but his special ability is value. His value of music. Don't be selling your music for $9.99 no more. Okay, I need everybody to make your album $99.99,
I got
$100 at a minimum.
you. Okay,
Okay,
Leroy, we gonna get to that conversation in a minute. So super. Who's your
for
rookie of the
real.
year? Who's your rookie of the year, brother?
honestly, this is I think it's a toss up. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm not gonna go against Bossman D-Lo or Big X the Plug, but I will make a slight argument for OT the Mexican. I mean, dude got a following, he got a movement. He actually kind of bringing something new to the game, a new atmosphere. His flow is original. I enjoy his music. I mean, he kind of play around a little bit, so it's like it's an acquired taste, but I do appreciate what he actually brings to the game. He is like I would say that if out of all the guys, he establishing something new. You know what I'm saying? So I can make an argument for OT that Mexican OT. I mean,
No doubt,
yeah, I
no
like.
doubt. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it with Big X the Plug. Not only I thought he had the best album of all the whole rookies. I mean, just like lyrically, sonically, production standpoint, I think he had the most solid album. And I like what he's doing by putting Dallas, Texas, a city that I hold dear to my heart, on the map. So I know we lost Mo3 back in the day. He was going to break through to Dallas, but unfortunately he transitioned. But I think Big X the Plug is putting Dallas on the map. His album was the best out of this group. So I got to go with Big X the Plug as my rookie of
All
the
right,
year.
let me face the let me speak on the elephant in the room here. Is Glorilla considered a rookie? Because
No,
I
last
don't
year,
think
I
so
would still
because
I
I
would
felt
still
like she
say
had a
so.
pretty big year last year. I think she was more of a rookie last year, and I
yeah,
know that she dropped her debut album, which can
this
be confusing. I think we said this in the group chat earlier. She, to me, think she's more of a Blake Griffin type of rookie. And for the people who don't know what I mean, Blake Griffin, he went out there his rookie year, got hurt, was out the whole year, and then ended up playing his second year while having, full NBA workouts, traveling with a full team, but was still considered a rookie when you had somebody like John Wall who was coming straight out of college. You're a little different. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's kind of what Glorilla would be considered from a rookie standpoint here, because I feel like she had the momentum from last year spilling over into this year. And I think that, she's more than a rookie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. She actually had a really good year this year. She was the top selling female rapper after Meg Thee Stallion for week sales on her album. She did the tour with Meg that was pretty good. She made noise. She had consistent mixtapes beforehand, but because of those bodies of work that dropped beforehand, that's why I have to say she's I can't put her in that rookie thing. It's kind of like the same example for why I was kind of on the fence about Doechii, because the world is now being introduced to Doechii now, but Doechii had a single that was on radio, and I guess a lot of people wasn't familiar with the voice because she's singing on it, and I was like, what it is joint that she had. But a lot of people are introduced to her because she drops this project, and this is not even considered her debut. She said on the interview it's a mixtape. So technically Doechii still haven't given us her debut though. But it has impact like an album. But like I said, man, I think Glow had that better year. But like I said, I'm riding with Boss Man D-Lo, man. I think he held it down all year. He didn't come at a certain part, a time. I think he was able to stay consistent all year. But like I said, I do like Big X's album better. But objectively, I have to say Boss Man D-Lo, because I just kind of feel like his music rang off a little bit more. I was outside. I listen. I hear what people are listening to. I think it was Boss Man D-Lo this year.
It looks like Boss Man D-Lo is actually winning in the poll too.
I can agree with you. I can definitely agree with you. I heard his music probably over all those other guys the most outside.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not saying like the music is necessarily better than those other people, but the impact in the year that he's had and the consistency and then the way he rolled out the project. That's it, man. I think Boss Man D-Lo was a guy who I heard every year. Like if he was getting on the TikToks, if you getting on the Twitters, if you getting whatever, like he just made noise from like when he did the Get In With Me record, you heard that on everything. You know what I'm saying? And then he came back with a Shake That Ass record, and there's a whole dance that like it's just kind of crazy his impact and how his influence was for to be a newer artist, man. Like I said, man, I
think he got a dope style too that is really catchy, and you know what I'm saying, people can easily gravitate to. Because that Get With Me, man, like that record is out of here. Like everybody knows the words, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got the poll up for Rookie of the Year. We'll see who wins that. What we got next? Diss Record of the Year?
We got Diss Record next, Mike. And Mike, you're going to tee this up. Before we tee it up, I want to say this. Shout out to Jaden Daniels. He's going to be the football Rookie of the Year. Shout out to that brother playing in Washington. And Super Duper and Mad Max, I told y'all before the year started that Josh Allen was going to get the MVP. He going to get that. But go ahead, Mike, to the Diss Record.
Man, Lamar Jackson. Man.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Josh Allen looked really good this year. But yeah, so does Lamar. Shout out to Lamar. All right. Well, Diss Record of the Year. Chris Brown's on here. All right. So the records that we got, been a lot of diss records that popped off this year.
Rick Ross.
Not like Us, obviously. You got
white boy.
Get
this white boy out of here.
Oh my God. All right. You got I was gonna say Family Feud. I'm tripping.
Family Matters.
Family Matters. Oh my God.
Family Matters was cold. Family Matters was cold.
When Chris Brown went crazy on Quavo. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to even remember any other diss record because I think Not Like Us is just the answer. I mean, it's Song of the Year. It's clearly diss record of the year. At this point, people are talking about its all-time diss record, you know what I'm saying, ranking. Like it's a top 5 diss record all time in many people's eyes. It got Kendrick the Super Bowl halftime show, in my personal opinion. It gave Kendrick his biggest record. And that's a huge feat for an artist as big as he is. And it got the catchy lines. And as Leroy pointed out earlier, it gave a little history lesson. It basically pointed out Drake is a colonizer. And I think that was one of the strongest points that he could make as it
FBA.
pertains to Drake as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was always one of the knocks on Drake, was the fact that he was always attaching himself to either some Caribbean style, some Houston style, some Atlanta style, and the fact that Kendrick went there and exploited that and did it with a bop, I think was very, very powerful. And I think that it's going to be in the history books as one of the all-time great diss records, and it got radio play on top of that. So for me, as crazy as it was that Chris Brown just went in on Quavo and washed Quavo, I got to give what credit's due and give it to Not Like Us for diss record of the year.
Got to.
I won't argue about this either, but it's not like us really better than Euphoria, y'all. Like, is it really better than Euphoria?
But that's the same guy, and Not Like
I
Us
understand
was
it's a bop, man, but is it better than Euphoria for real?
I think for what everything that it was able to accomplish, yeah. It's like, to me, I don't know if this is a good correlation, but to me, She Lives in My Lap is Andre 3000's best song. But if you think about everything that Hey Y'all did, it's hard for me to sit there and say that She Lives in My Lap is a better song than Hey Y'all. Hey Y'all did everything. You know what I mean? And it hit so many points. It had substance, it had hook, it had melody, it had all of those things. And I feel like that's the difference between Not Like Us and Euphoria.
When Drake makes a song, he's dropping 3 songs in one song. So that's a 3-piece just in one song. Kendrick built up to Not Like Us. It was Euphoria, 6 by 16 or 616 in LA. Then it was the record after Meet the Grams. Then it was Not Like Us. So he built up into that punch. It's like throwing combinations. And when he got to that hook or that uppercut, it was lights out. Now again,
we talk about the response. The response from Drake lets you know that was the knockout punch.
Yeah. I like all the disses that came from Kendrick, and I can even throw a nod to Family Matters for Drake, but I just feel like Family Matters didn't have enough for Kendrick. He was dissing a lot of people. It was real witty on there. That last verse on there was kind of crazy, but I feel
last verse of the year.
Yeah, the last verse was kind of crazy. But when I listened to the last verse on Not Like Us, and how Kendrick broke it down, like the history of that, and like how Leroy is saying the build up to that, and the fact that Not Like Us was an unexpected record that you thought he was going to get in this disc.
Yeah.
They actually thought Drake was going to come with one of those. So like, this is the standard to why I say why we have to respect Not Like Us as a record, as a diss record, like how you're describing. If people love back to back and back to back got that type of credit that it did, we have to give the same for Not Like Us, because it's the same formula, but it's a bigger bop, man. It's played everywhere. I kind of feel like you won when now your diss song is played everywhere. You know how many diss songs you never heard a diss song played everywhere like this sits back to back. You know,
yeah, we gave back credit for that
song. So just the unexpected surprise of this, it being a bop, the fact that he broke Kendrick down. I mean, he broke Drake down in that last verse. It's undeniable, man. That's the runaway, man. I'm the one that suggested that we have to talk about Chris Brown being there, because that diss track was lethal. But it's kind of a no-brainer for me that it was Not Like Us, man.
Like Rick Ross did. That's why you changed your nose, white boy, because you don't want a nose like your daddy. Hey, but
I actually like that diss, but it didn't have no impact.
Drake fought the good fight. Metro, shut your ass up and make some drums, nigga. Like he fought the good fight, but
don't get it twisted, man. Family Matters is lethal. That second verse on Family Matters, it's a verse of the year candidate. Third verse on Family Matters, that's a verse of the year candidate.
No, Drake raw. He raw. You know what I mean? But hey, Kendrick was just punching too much, man. Well, I could have told Drake, man, leave that boy alone, man. Leave them Compton niggas alone, man. But Kendrick, he was built for that. I thought Drake was gonna keep going. So why Drake just, called it a day? I don't know, but it Not Like Us must have really struck a chord. You know what I mean? Trying to strike a chord.
Not Like Us hit too hard.
If it's one thing from this beef, I wish I could forever forget, it would be BBL Drizzy. Just a statement. If it's one thing I wish I could erase out my whole mind and memory is just that whole BBL Drizzy shit.
And that was a weird part during this thing, though. It's funny, but it's kind of like I didn't think it was gonna have the legs to go how it went. It was kind of crazy.
Well, I must highlight the fact that Drake was able to take that and basically did that because he jumped on there and rhymed on it himself. Because the whole plan that Metro had was to put it out there so other people could rhyme on it so that it could have legs. And what Drake did was he jumped on it and deaded that by rhyming on it himself. At that point, nobody else is rhyming on it.
Yeah, but to be fair, like
it was cold, man.
That was a bad record. That Sexy Red and Drake record is a bad record. That's not.
I like that record. I disagree with it.
Not a good song.
But see, I like Sexy Red though.
I actually like Sexy Red too. That song is weirdly like. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Sexy Red too. I think she has a likable personality. I don't know. She shows love to the other artists when she's doing it. I like Sexy Red. She's kind of polarizing in a way, but
she is.
That song is terrible. That song with Drake is terrible. That was a terrible record. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Super, did you give your Super? Did you give it this of the year?
I mean, you can't. Who can disagree with Not Like Us? I was like I said.
Sounds like this is
playing.
It's not unanimous. It's not unanimous. I got a different one. I got a different one.
All right.
I got a different one. I'm still gonna give it to Kendrick because I thought that this record lyrically was one of the best in the beef in the battle. I'm gonna say 616 in LA. I mean, just way he breaks it down, right? He says, what does he says? He says, yeah, somebody's lying. I can see the vibes on act. Even he looking compromised. Let's peel the layers back. Ain't no brownie points for beating your chest, harassing ant. He's breaking it down diabolically on this joint. It's a soulful record that reminds me of Section 80. He's not doing a lot of vocal tricks. I just thought it was a deep personal record. I mean, he says you can't tootsie slide out of this one. Now living your purpose. Every dog's got his day. I mean, he's just breaking it down, and he ends it with the Michael Jackson reference. Before you figure out that you're not alone, ask what Mike would do. I mean, this is the best lyrically to me. This is the best out of the whole beef to me.
I like the Michael Jackson.
All these Michael Jackson references that happen.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Wait a minute, you don't like the record 616 in LA? You don't like the Michael Jackson?
No.
I don't like the Michael Jackson references.
Yeah, the Mike references. I don't like that. Euphoria was my favorite before Not Like Us.
I agree with you, Ron. I think it's I think 616 in LA is probably the most for me. I think it's got the longest legs and it's probably the best produced and probably the most lyrical. Maybe other. I mean, Euphoria pretty lyrical too, but I think it's a song that if I had to pick a song that to ride out with or something I'm gonna take to remember from this. 616 in LA is the song that I think that it is the best song realistically for real. But how can we ignore Not Like Us? I mean, it's just it was too big to ignore, man.
They're all good records.
616 is fire.
Yeah, they're all good records.
All right, I'm hearing that YouTube didn't give out our notifications today. So, the people in the chat right now, if y'all could, hit the thumbs up and hit the share button on your social medias to let people know we live. Because YouTube's playing games and not, giving people.
Yeah, they've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, we got people spamming the chat. So where these people coming from? Like Dreamers.
Man.
They're trying to stop the real hip hop, y'all. That's the underlying thing here. Is Kendrick was defending culture, and I'm not acting like Drake is not culture, but what I'm saying, the battle turned into culture versus vulture. That's what it turned into, and Kendrick defending the culture. What I need us to do in 2025 is to keep that same energy. So everything that we deem as a threat to the culture, I need us to keep that energy. Okay?
I agree, man. And I do think that was the smartest path that Kendrick could take because that was always a knock on Drake right there. And that was very surgical. He set Drake up in every single way. And he set Drake up by thinking that by having Drake think that he wasn't going to respond to something. And then he hit him with 4 haymakers in like 4 days.
Crazy.
Grams in an hour. He hit him with grams in an hour later.
All different records.
Crazy. Well,
we might as well just knock these Kendrick topics right on out, man.
Nah, we ain't gonna do. We're not
We
gonna.
got producer of the year, right?
We got producer of the year, and this is right on time. We would be remiss not to have someone who brought some life to A2HH this year, has joined us in the building. My guy, my good friend, producer extraordinaire, Ronve in the building. My co-host.
What's good, brother?
What's going on?
What up, man? What up? Can y'all hear me okay?
What's going on, brother?
Great,
you missed some good topics, but we're gonna get into it. You right on time for producer of the year.
I was about to say, I hear the Kendrick talk was good.
All right, well, let's go down the line of who's won so far. Lyricist of the year right now, we got Kendrick Lamar. Rookie of the year, looks like Doche won that by the people in the chat. Diss record of the year, not like us. I don't think there's any surprise there. But yeah, those are the categories that we've been at, so that we've gone through so far, and now we're at producer of the year.
And the nominees for producer of the year, and Ronve, you can start us off with this. But producer of the year, we've got what do we got? We got, hold on, get my list together. Let me get my list together. Hold on. Where am I at? We got Metro Boomin. We got The Alchemist. We've got Conductor Williams. We've got DJ Mustard. And we've got Pete Rock. And we got Tyler, the Creator. What say you, VZ?
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at, I knew Mike.
Who did I miss?
Man, Dr. Dre is producer of the year, man. This
wait.
This is insane. All right, I'm sorry.
I have my take.
Like, watch
Mike, you had all day in the group chat to say this. Why are you waiting till now?
There was like 100 comments in the group chat. I missed that part.
I sent you the list. by yourself.
I'm sorry.
Come on, man.
All right, V. Based upon that, what you saying, bro?
I feel like there's a producer that was missing, and I'm actually with Mike on this one. I'm not gonna lie. For me, I thought Missionary was by far the best produced album of the year, and it's not even close. If we're talking about being a producer in the sense of having the responsibility of putting together a full album, putting together a full body of work, in a concise, cohesive manner, in a way that is that makes sense sonically. I mean, I don't know how Dr. Dre is actually not in the conversation. Out of the producers that you put, I think Metro had a monstrous year. I think Alchemist had a monstrous year. So to me, it could be any one of those two. But for me personally, I'm a Dre head, and Missionary is the best. For me, Missionary is the album of the year. So how can you not be producer of the year if that's for me, if that's the album of the year?
Makes sense.
You can't pick something or somebody who's not mentioned. So.
Man, y'all gotta quit disrespecting people that's putting in work, man. Alchemist Alchemist put in too much work. How can we?
Of course.
How we gonna just ignore all the work and all the artists that Alchemist done work with throughout this whole year and his own solo projects, just to give Dr. Dre the nod on the album that got mixed reviews?
I think this is my thing when it comes to, and I think Alchemist is a top 10 producer all time. Missionary was dropped the same day as Alchemist and Rock Marciano's album. And I love Rock Marciano and I love Alchemist as well, but I couldn't really listen to the album after listening to Missionary from a production standpoint. Like, it's not even close. Like, there's levels to it, and I feel like Dre is production wise at a level where I don't think his peers have caught up. I just don't, and I say that respectfully. Let
me say this.
No, Mike. No,
easily hip hop's best.
No, it's not easily. Mike. I'm sorry to jump out of turn, but I can't let Mike. Leroy. You gonna go now? I can't let Mike say this, man. It's a super point, man. He did work with Benny the Butcher, J. Cole. He did stuff on Marciology. He did
He
the
been doing
Gangrene
that.
joint. He did stuff with J. Cole. He did the
doing
Red
doing
Moon in
that.
Osaka with Raekwon. He did the solo stuff. He did the Action
doing that.
Bronson stuff. He did the joint with A$AP Rocky, Big Sean, and he did
He's
with
not
OD
Dr.
James.
Dre. He ain't
Yeah.
Dr.
He
Dre.
is clearly, and then
He's
he
not
did,
Dr.
then he
Right. And see what happens. That's all I want. I hear a lot of samples. You're paying for the samples anyway. You're paying big money to use them samples. So why not just engineer them to make them sound crisp? That's all I'm saying. We've been doing the dirty, dingy sample for 20 years. Why not clean it up? And Alchemist, I'm not knocking Alchemist. I love Alchemist. I know what you're doing. But brother, if Alchemist and Dr. Dre are in the same studio, do you know the nuclear bomb that would go off? Is incredible.
Hey,
Like,
listen,
it's
I'm just
incredible.
that's why it's interesting, man. Poll everything. I'm interested to see what
Oh
the
yeah.
audience
We'll
says.
definitely poll everything. All right, so Ronve, you pick Dr. Dre. Who's next? And I'll say my piece whenever it's my turn, because I do think Q-Tip got left off too, but we'll talk about that.
Q-Tip went crazy.
So Leroy, you went. Cervon,
Who you got, Leroy?
Producer of the year, I'm gonna go Pete Rock because Pete Rock brought back a soulful sound. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to make soul samples and then make a whole album of soul samples, and then it all sounds good. So I got to give it to him. You know what I mean?
He
Respectfully.
did an incredible job this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is it
Cervon.
my turn? Okay, go Cervon.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna, like I said, being objective here. Clearly, I'm gonna say it has to be Metro Boomin. I respect the Sonics on Missionary. I even have to give love to Alchemist because he produced, some of those diss tracks for Kendrick. But Metro had the bigger year. Like I said, I can't give the nod over somebody who's been doing it all year for somebody who just dropped in the fourth quarter. When I seen the work that Metro was putting in, he produced 2 albums, man. For Future, that was the catalyst to what jumped off the beef, and he went crazy at the end of that beat on Like That. And then you guys mentioned BBL Drizzy. That was everywhere. That was just as big and had nobody rapping on it. Metro, to me, put in the most work consistently this year and had the bigger impact out of all these producers that you guys named this year. And I won't
Kendrick
argue
Lamar
with
is
that
the
at all.
reason why.
I think Metro did.
Lamar's verse.
Metro definitely had the bigger year. He produced the bigger projects and had the bigger year out of all those guys we mentioned. And so I won't argue against Metro either.
Yeah, I have to give it to Metro, man. I think he had a solid year, and my runner-up will be the Alchemist, because the array of projects he's been involved in, the diss tracks he produced for Kendrick. But yeah, man, I definitely have to give it to Metro, man. Metro had a consistent from the top of the year till now. I think Metro made his case for why he should be producer of the year this year.
You guys know how high I am on Metro, and I've always been. My thing with Metro, though, is at some point, you got to show us that you're more than the 3-6 Mafia knockoff or, sample, resample guy. Where's that next level? Where's that next step? I think at this point in Metro's production career, it's time for that next step. Same thing with Mustard. I mean, those Mustard beats and all that from 10 years ago, shit was dope. They still sound like 10 years ago, though.
I can't let you do that to Metro.
It's no elevation here. It's no elevation.
I can't let you do that to Metro because I've heard too many joints he's produced for other artists outside of Future, and the Future sound itself from the mixtapes or whatever. If you really listen to Future's projects, that range of production, and then was last year 21 Savage was a lot. Wasn't that a Metro produced album? I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was a lot.
No. I think that album didn't have a lot of Metro on it. That's kind of why it kind of,
I thought that was a Metro beat. So correct me if I'm wrong.
The critics, to your point though, the critics did say the reason why they talked about I Still Don't Trust You and I Don't Trust You is that Metro did elevate and change his production on those records. So he kind of did evolve a little bit. Those
Did he
records,
though? He's still using these 3-6 Mafia loops. Stuff that DJ
on a
Paul
couple
used to
tracks,
say
not the main.
already showed.
You know, I mean, the song with Kendrick, the sample alone is one of the biggest records, period, as already. And people get mad at Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, you're producing famous songs. Well, I mean, the song with Metro and Kendrick, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's a fair argument to even be saying that right now, because a lot of times when DJs or not DJs, but when producers switch it up, we complain about it. Like if we get the Nas and Primo album and it don't sound like Primo, people gonna be complaining about that. If we get the Premier or the Pete Rock album and it don't sound like Pete Rock, people would have been complaining about that. So
but that's what we're having the Dr. Dre and Snoop thing, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, and I'm a big fan of, believe it or not, for a lot of people, they hated this album. I love Common's Electric Circus album. And I think Electric Circus is not a bad album. He took chances. Of course, he didn't hit on all cylinders on that album. But I think the biggest problem people have with Electric Circus was that wasn't the album that they wanted from that artist. And I think that Missionary has a similar situation going on where it's like, that's not what people wanted from Snoop and Dre.
You can't listen but I slightly disagree.
And say those records ain't fire. Like, I just don't.
First of all, Electric Circus, right? On Electric Circus, Common said lyrically, I've done something on Electric Circus that I've never done on any album. Now, if you go back to Electric Circus and listen to how he's rhyming, it's the only time you'll ever hear Common rap like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's rapping crazy. Now, but Missionary, that is a Snoop album, not a Dre album. Snoop's albums are about dancing. I hate to break it to you. It's about partying, barbecuing, and dancing. So when you listen to Missionary, what do you think you're hearing? It's not a Dre album.
Snoop, no, because Snoop was going for the lyricism on this album. He said that out right.
He's dope.
But he was trying to put down because he was very inspired by his peers, his older peers who were, LL, Nas, whoever, all the older statesmen. He was inspired by that and just really wanting to show that he still got it. And for me, that's from a production standpoint. But I feel like Dr. Dre brought that out in a way that production-wise that allowed him that space to shine lyrically. And a lot of people say that the album was overproduced. I wholeheartedly disagree. And in fact, there are so many tracks on there that's more minimal than anything that allows Snoop to shine. And so
if Dr. Dre ain't on point musically, I don't understand what people are talking about. If we're talking about Dr. Dre is making some type of
Leroy, you can say his name a million times. Again, listen. I love Mike. I love Ronve. Those are my brothers. Those are my guys from way back. But I've scoured the internet. I've scoured the internet and read every blog, listened to every podcast, and no one is hyping this album other than Mike and Ronve. No one is saying that this album is album of the year. No one is.
Snoop came out in 1993. Compare Snoop to rappers that were popping in 1993. If you ain't doing that, I don't want to hear it. Show me the rappers that was popping in 93.
Listen, man, when we're talking about just dope hip hop albums, what are we looking for? Dope beats, dope lyrics, and on top of that, if it's a Dr. Dre album, a dope engineering job. What else are we looking for? And so for me, we could talk about Metro. We can talk about Metro, and we can talk about how it's said in the press about his growth, but we know what we're listening to. And honestly, I'm with Mike on this one where I'm a fan of Metro's production. I think Metro, if you need a banger, if you need a single, Metro is that dude that you're gonna go to. Alchemist too. I think Alchemist is one of the most underrated, versatile producers still doing it. That being said, with Dre, his shit just knocks. His shit is different, man. His shit is different. When we're talking about how the songs are put together, we're talking about the hooks, we're talking about the engineering game, we're talking about, and on top of that, Snoop's, and granted, Snoop did have writers on this album, so you can say what you want from the lyricist standpoint, but
even with writers, if y'all think you can outbar Snoop, run up on Snoop and spit your bars and see what happens. If you think you can outbar Snoop, if I'm from California, if you think you can outbar Snoop Dogg, run up on him with your rhymes and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Absolutely.
Good luck. He's not a new guy. He's from the old school.
We're gonna have to mute you, Leroy. We're gonna have to mute you. You gotta carry on the
show. I'll say this, and I do want to make a correction. Metro did not produce a lot by 21, but what I want to say is I have seen Metro like grow within his beat selections for the artists he did. I can't criticize like how you got. This is the thing I don't like. We give Dre credit for his sound, but then we criticize Metro for his sound. That's his sound. That's Metro's sound. So we can't uplift one for how his sound is, and then we criticize another guy because that's his sound. You know, that's not.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in real quick.
This is my critique, real quick. I think Metro takes a lot from 3-6, and again, I mean, I'm somebody who remembers these DJ Paul and Juicy J records when they actually dropped. He takes a lot of their loops. I don't really know what his sound is. A lot of the stuff that connects comes from them. Now, I've been also critical about Dre in his early era where he was taken from the Bomb Squad. Now, he evolved from that, and he did create some level of a sound. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to see the growth with Metro. I think Metro and Hit Boy are the two best producers of their era. Hit Boy's an album maker and can make some hits, too. Metro's more of a hit maker. And if we look at the people here, right, we got Metro. He's a hit-making guy, really not a big album-making guy. Pete Rock, he's more of an album-making guy in this time period, in this era. Alchemist is an album-making guy. Dr. Dre's the only one here that is an album-making guy and a banger guy at the same time.
Mike, when's the last time that Dr. Dre made a banger, man? Come on, let's be for real.
I think Alchemist was a banger.
Let's stop this, man.
This is the
stop this, man. Go ahead, Ronve. Go ahead, Ronve.
Yeah. I'm gonna just say this. Just in terms of how I measure a producer's growth are the artists that he works with. And for me, I just haven't seen Metro branch outside of the genre and even the style or subgenre that he tends to stay within one sort of niche, in one formula in that sound. Now you can argue, I guess, you know, the sample selection and all of that, but at the end of the day, he makes music for one sort of specific subgenre, whereas for me, the best producers are able. You can make an album with a boom bap artist. You can make an album with a trap artist. You can make albums with an R&B artist, and it still flow cohesively. And so when I'm looking for growth, that's the kind of growth that I'm looking for. And I know that Metro has it in them. I just haven't seen it yet.
But this is the thing. This is why I don't like. So here's one point. You guys spoke about samples. Did this Missionary album not have a bunch of samples?
Of course, yeah.
Isn't Dre not known for using a lot of G-Funk and a lot of those funk-inspired samples? Yeah. Dating back to the Chronic, right? So why are we criticizing this guy that use like Metro's not a new producer. Metro has a range of stuff. He's produced on Life of Pablo. He's produced for Juice WRLD. Like Future is hands down one of the biggest artists of this generation. Is he not?
Straight up.
Yeah.
Why is that? That Metro sound is a big instrumental part of that, right?
Because when you're going for, I can answer that for you. I can answer that for you. When you're hiring Metro to come on your album to produce, you're looking for one specific sound, as opposed to.
I disagree with that.
I don't agree with that either, man. This guy made us.
Yeah, I don't.
Bad and Bougie sound like Future's records.
Look at the versatility that even Future, you know, used when he is produced by Metro. I mean, he versatile enough to where Future can sing on these tracks. He can make love songs and shit to him. He can be, he can do what he's doing to a lot of these tracks. He's very versatile. He can rap, it's trap. I don't agree that he's not versatile at all. And I think that I also think that he's more unique with his beat producing than Dr. Dre is too. Like Dr. Dre got a cookie cutter style of making music. Like I think that Metro's beats are more original and more creative. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right. I know we could talk about this on and on. All right, so this is what I got in the poll. And let me know if there is a nominee that somebody wants in there. I got Metro, Dr. Dre, Pete Rock, and The Alchemist. Is that fair? Is that everybody's nominations?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
cool.
Yeah. And just
all right, but we're gonna put it on to the people.
And just to
What's that,
recap,
Ron?
just to recap, and Mike, you go last. So Super, who's your producer of the year? Just so everybody's clear.
Okay.
I gotta get. I mean, you know what, Cervon, you didn't push me over to the Metro side, man. Like I was gonna say Alchemist, but when you really sit back and think about it, right. You making some of my argument that I was speaking on in the chat where I was saying about I don't believe that Kendrick should get both of these awards, and this is part of my argument that's coming with this Metro argument that we're making right now. But I mean, I think Metro he has had the higher moments throughout the year. Even though Alchemist put in a lot of work, Metro has put in a lot of work, and I think that his production been out there. It's been reached the masses. He's made the more important work as a producer, I would say, just for the year. So I'm going with Metro, man. You swayed me.
I would like to say, I'm not mad at that. Let's not forget about Dre. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so Ronve, Dre's your producer of the year. Leroy, who's your producer of the year, brother?
I sincerely love Alchemist. In my heart of hearts, I'm an Alchemist head. What Pete Rock did this year, just as far as the soul is concerned, I'm getting older. I like to chill. I like to just have peace, chill out, and just relax. So what Pete Rock did this year was amazing to me. But I'm gonna go Pete Rock. You know what I mean?
Cervon.
Shout out to Alchemist though.
So
Fire.
I'm gonna say Metro. Even though I love Dre's producing on Missionary, I actually love his production better for March of Ambrosia, which was one of my personal favorite albums. But I just think Metro took it this year, from the Spider-Man Spider-Verse soundtrack to his joints, the joints he did for Future. That's 2 albums. I've seen him work from artists from The Weeknd to Lil Uzi to Future to Travis Scott to the Migos. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on. So when people talk about his versatility and always have another sound, people got to really go listen to his catalog and see who all he produced for, because he got joints for Nicki Minaj. Like, he has big records. And I think people really has to go look at the category and see how that versatility is with them, instead of trying to put them in a box for making this certain type of sound. There's a reason why people look forward to a future mixtape or a future project. That's Metro behind that. I think Metro should actually get more credit for his array of versatility when it comes to working with those other artists and creating a sound that made an artist be, picked on and be on the Mount Rushmore of the 2010s or whatever that from then. We can't ignore that. I can't give it to a guy who just dropped the album in fourth quarter, gave you a Marsha Ambrosia thing, but we haven't really heard from a Dre production throughout years, when there's a guy who's consistently been doing stuff for 12 years.
Marsha Ambrosia's album.
Yeah, but even before we got to the Drake and Kendrick beef and all that, let's not forget that he was producing stuff for Drake too. Big records. So like I'm saying, you have to really do your homework on Metro and what he was able to do and his evolution from when he started until now. But I say Metro, hands down.
Mike, what say you, sir?
My mere thoughts with the super chat says Missionary was a Disney version of Doggy Style. Simply too commercial for the core fans. Dr. Dre's my answer.
Snoop Dogg is not a 19 years old anymore, people. I know you think he's still 18, 17. He's not. He's not.
All right.
Sorry.
Real quick before we get to the next topic, I'm gonna say my pick real quick. It's The Alchemist. What people in the chat are saying it's The Alchemist. You got Benny the Butcher. You guys work with Hit Boy and the Big Head. You got Rock Marciano. He did stuff on Marciology. He did stuff on J. Cole. He did the Gang Green joint. He did something with Raekwon and Conway the Machine. He did the Action Bronson joints. He worked with Big Sean, ASAP Rocky. Plus his solo material. It's just too much. Alchemist is my producer of the year.
Do we want Alchemist to stay here? Alchemist. My favorite beat of the year is Espionage from Gangrene. So I'm an Alchemist head. Do we want Alchemist to stay here, where he's at, or do we want him to go to Dr. Dre land? That's a serious
Well,
question.
it could be
Because if
argued.
you would have told me
I mean,
10 years ago,
you're gonna make a
Alchemist did
case
what he
if you're gonna
did
go pound for pound
10
producer.
years ago.
If you want to talk about
Alchemist
consistent overall body of work, is in about 5 months of the year.
All right, guys. This my slept on underground album awards for this year. So you can call it whichever way you want to call it, underground album of the year or slept on album of the year, however you want to label it. But for me, I got Rock Marcy with Marciology, Corday with The Crossroads, Mark Hami with Rich Ass Haitians, 38 Special with Mother and Gun, and Bodie James with The Brictionary. But I want to give a real quick shout out to my honorable mentions too, man. Honorable mentions for me real quick are I Am God with Bloodstained Suede 2, Wrong Streets with Hatton Garden, Hold Up, Blue with Love in the Ominous World, Sky Zoo with Keep Me Company. So those are my honorable mentions. So shout out to all those guys, man. It was kind of hard decision to make, but back to the list, man. I you know, this been a good year, man. Like it's been a learning process for me this year. Like I had to learn to be a little bit more patient with a lot of the music that I've been consuming. And I know that when the Mark Hami first came out, like I was dogging it and shit because I really didn't understand a lot of it, and you know, it just didn't groove with me when I first listened to it. But as time went on and as people kept mentioning it, I would just go back and give it a new spin, and it started to grow on me as the year went on. And I can't ignore the artistic value that he put into this album. So it made my list. But for me, if I got to choose one of my list, man, I'm going with the Rock Marcy. It's been my album that's been on repeat all year. Out of all these guys, I mean, shout out to everybody on the list. But
Marcy, crazy.
Yeah, do you think Killer Mike's album was slept on?
I think it was slept on, but like I said, I didn't think it. You know, I don't look at Killer Mike as an underground artist, so that's why it was kind of the slash underground, you know, thing. But yeah, if he definitely meet the criteria for being straight up and down, just slept on anyway, this year. But like I said, I do understand the pushback that he did get on the album for, like, you know, remixing a couple of the other songs and, you know, blending a couple of songs together. So I can understand the knock on it. At the same time, but yeah, Killer Mike definitely was slept on.
So your pick is Mock?
No, my pick is Rock Marcy.
Marcy, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Rock Marcy, okay, fire. Rock Marcy did his thing, you know what I mean?
And shout out to Corday, man. Shout out to Corday. That Crossroads album is fire too. That Crossroads album is fire.
Yeah,
like, you know. So shout out to all those guys, man, for real. Like, I think these for me were the MVPs of the year. Like all of these type of guys, the guys like the I Am guys, the Wrong Streets, the Sky Zoos, the Blues, you know, those guys for me were the MVPs of the year. The Bodie James, 38 Special, Larry June, guys like that. Those were the guys that I really were listening to on an everyday basis, more so than a lot of these, you know, mainstream guys, or you know what I mean. So shout out to all to those guys.
Noir, yeah.
I want to pause out. Some people saying they can't hear us. They're saying the audio is going in and out. So can we just do a check? I'm seeing people saying that like we're going in and out or audio check or something.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Pull up on your phone, see if you can hear.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up on my phone just to see.
But in the meantime, Ronve, then Mike, then Leroy, then Cervon. What was the most slept on MC of the year?
I didn't get to a lot of those albums, admittedly. I will say, for me though, I love 38 Special's album. That was kind of on repeat for me. I'm not. I know this is probably not the biggest, the most popular opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of Corday. I like his subject matter, but as an MC, he just is kind of boring to me, for lack of a better way of putting it. but I think of the bunch. 38 Special probably had the most repetition for me, and then probably the Rock Marciano after that.
To piggyback on that, man, I think I'm gonna go with Cordae. I wasn't the biggest Cordae fan before this album, and I really saw him step it up. As an MC, he sounded like a much better MC on this album. I think the production and the direction and the musical direction of this album is on point. I got to know a lot more about this actual artist personally from this album, and and those are special moments. It kind of gave you, and I hate to compare it to anything, but it kind of gave you like a college dropout-esque feel in a sense where it was like you felt like you were getting to know this individual and they were speaking on some things that most rappers don't really speak on. And I think that because Cordae is who he is, and I think it's a very tough road for an artist like himself who clearly has major backing, but he's of a certain age where his demographics not really connecting with his approach. So he's kind of always going to be one of those slept on guys. And I think this album is that slept on moment where it's like, okay, he should be getting recognition from this, but he probably isn't. And unfortunately, and so yeah, I would have to give him that nod because I feel like this album deserves something. Lord with the super chat says 5 Eastsiders, 4 Common, 3 Absol, 2 Redman, 1 Kendrick.
Fire. Well, I'm gonna give 3 names. Shout out. This one doesn't count. Shout out to Redman. I just enjoyed your last album. Happy to see you back outside, Redman. I was a Redman head back in the day, so I'm happy to see you back outside. Cordae. This doesn't count either, but I think Cordae, he leaned too far into the Kanye West bag. And that's not to say that you don't have talent, but when you lean so far into the Kanye West bag, some people can start to associate you with Kanye so much that they start to discredit your actual talent. So be wary of leaning too far into your heroes. But now I'm gonna start the process. So the 3 I'm gonna name: Schoolboy Q, I think was Blue Lips. I think instrumentally, I think Schoolboy, you always do what you do, but bang on them, Schoolboy. We know what you represent, and you tried to be cool, but Schoolboy, go ahead and bang on them. We know what you really want to do. Okay, you want some gang in them, so go ahead and gang out. It's fine. So that's one. But also, Big Sean, I called Common album of the year because Common shows a lot of maturity and growth. Big Sean, you did show some growth here. I mean, you showed some maturity. You're moving on into fatherhood. Wish you well, brother. So Big Sean, I liked your album. I didn't think it was super crazy or nothing, but at the time when I listened to it, I said, hey, I like it. So, Big Sean. And last but not least, excellence. Beyonce, Cowboy Carter. Not even hip hop. But I just
what
say,
are we talking about right now?
Listen where I'm going. I think all the rappers, when they call you outside, you should be excellent. When they called Beyonce outside to see this halftime show, they wanted to see if she was gonna be excellent. She did her thing. So all the rappers, be excellent. When you see Beyonce and you see 500 black people behind her, those aren't just random black people. Those are black people that have been with her for a decade. So that movement of hundreds of black people all moving together. I mean, rappers.
I'm sorry.
Rappers.
I'm
You're
sorry.
getting a little long-winded here, Leroy.
I'm sorry, Leroy. I'm sorry,
You can do that. Hey,
Mike,
excellence.
Mike, what was your pick here on this one?
She's from Texas.
My pick on this one was
Big Sean is
Crossroads
from
by
Detroit.
Cordae,
Schoolboy
okay.
is from LA.
Cervon, what was your pick? Cervon, what was your pick on this one?
So I got a pick, and I do have some honorable mentions. 2 other honorable mentions. My pick is going to be Cordae. I think Cordae did good storytelling on the album. The features was pretty good. I like his freestyles outside of this, like the ones he did with LA Leakers or whatnot. I think Cordae gets thrown into this bag of being compared to J. Cole or somebody just because he's more introspective and their music sounds nothing alike. I also think he gets sort of the Vic Mensa treatment a lot too, as people don't know where to box him in. And sometimes when you don't know a category to put an artist in, you kind of just like dismiss them. And I really feel like Crossroads was a good album. I think him and Wayne has great chemistry collaborating together.
Yes.
I really did like the Crossroads album. And this is not the first time we've heard good collaboration between him and Wayne, because the projects prior or whatever, it went down like that. I think Cordae is slept on for this album. But the next two people that I want to give honorable mentions to is Schoolboy Q, Blue Lips. I think because it came so early in the year and we see what the rest ended up being, it's just like it's slept on. Blue Lips was a good project. And I also want to give this third honorable mention, which is Blue and Exile, because you guys put me on. You guys introduced me to him. I went and listened to that project. Solid. Schoolboy Q and Blue and Exile does get my honorable mentions, but I'll have to say it's Cordae, man. I think Cordae delivered a solid project, solid storytelling, solid producing on the record. The features was on point, and I think he just doesn't get enough credit for the work that he puts in. But it's just sometimes when you're a younger rapper that's more introspective, sometimes they try to label you, and if they can't put you into a box, it's kind of like they dismiss you. So he's kind of victim of that. But I really like the project.
We got a lot of bots in the chat, man. I'm trying to keep up. I think Cooper's sending a lot of people out. A Hip Hop Talks bot came in earlier. And guys, come on, stop hating, guys. But let me end the segment, and then Mike's gonna jump it off with the best female MC of 2024. I want to say the most slept on, underappreciated underground artist of the year. I would say album of the year is 38 Special, Mother and Gun. I thought that album was just crazy. The way he put it together, it was really a personal album. I like the cover. We had a category, but Leroy said he didn't want to do that one, so we took that one out. We had an album cover. 38 Special, Mother and Gun, most underappreciated, slept on album of the year. And I went to my doctor. They said my blood pressure is up, and I think it's because of Leroy. So if anybody wants to replace me on the Weekend Rhyme, we might need a new host. The host with Leroy, please hit me up to replace me, because I can't risk this my health in 2025. Mike, tee us up on the next topic, brother.
All right. Well, hey, do we got a poll up? Slept on album of the year, and we got Rock Marciano. Marciology, we got Cordae the Crossroads, and we have 38 with Mother and Gun. So, all right, next category, female rapper of the year. It's a good one, man. Rhapsody put out quality this year. Dolce, you got Glorilla, Lotto, and Shay Noir. What a stacked category.
I'd say.
I don't even know where to go, honestly, man. Rhapsody put together a dope album. Well, had a huge year. Lotto. I think Lotto was kind of more of the same this year. I mean, Lotto's a star. I think Glorilla probably had the biggest year. But if I'm gonna go on quality, man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Dolce.
Ronve, what say you, sir? Then Leroy, then Cervon, and Super. Ronve, what say you, sir?
Man, this is a tough category. I really like the work that Rhapsody is putting out this year. I think Glorilla, if we're talking about rapper of the year and just who had the biggest year, it's Glorilla, hands down. I think right now Dolce probably has the biggest buzz, just based off of quality. So it's one of those two. Damn, man, I don't know. It's one of those two, and I think it just depends on what you're looking at. For me, I'm gonna go with Dolce, just because I like the I tend to gear more towards her quality of music. but you know, I can't deny what Glorilla did this year. I mean, she was everywhere. So yeah.
Leroy and Cervon and Super.
I'm going Rhapsody. I think she's the female version of Kendrick Lamar. Period.
I thought you were gonna say
Anybody,
Beyonce, but go ahead.
anybody who want to, hey, we talk about FBA, the country music saying Beyonce's not black. Beyonce showed you she was black.
Okay,
Period.
Rhapsody, Leroy. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they don't like
What
that.
is he talking
They
about?
don't like that. If we talking about culture, Rhapsody, she's not shaking her ass for dollars. Okay, we talking about culture. I'm not disrespecting y'all. I love the strip club. Trust me, they know I love it.
Trust me.
Trust me, they know at the strip club. They know. But
here comes the tangent.
yeah, Rhapsody is the female version of Kendrick Lamar. Not to say they style is similar, but the integrity that Rhapsody has stood on since 2000 and like early 2000s up until now is crazy. So I'm repping Rhapsody all day, every year. Her you ain't gotta like her music. The integrity she stands on is what I can agree with.
No
Shout
doubt.
out to the
Cervon,
strip club.
what say you, sir?
What's the name of the category?
Female MC of the year of 2024. We've got Lotto, Shay
No, I
Noir.
don't need the picks, Ron. I just need the name of the category.
Oh, okay,
So,
bro.
no
Okay.
respect. But the reason this leans into my answer, it has to be Glow. She had the better year. Doechii came in fourth quarter. She's my personal favorite because I feel like she has content that goes outside of just the sexual whatever. I feel like she has a different approach to music that's very interesting and very actually refreshing and cool compared to the other female artists. And I think her stage performance is amazing. I checked her out on Tiny Desk, but I've seen her at a lot of festivals, and I think she's a great performer. I'm tired of hearing people rapping over vocals. So Doechii doing it, not rapping over vocals and everything is amazing. But I have to give it to Glow for the bigger year. Her debut album did numbers. Beforehand, the project, the singles and the mixtapes was making noise. Glow had a nice tour with her music. I think she proved to people that she was able to deliver an actual album with content on there. I like the record with her and T-Pain. You know, she had the big single with Meg. I think overall she had a bigger year. She outsold what Meg was able to do in topping that for the year. And I just think this was Glow's big year. I think she was able to stand the test of time. Her performance and her approach to music is actually, you could kind of see her growth from when she got in here to the way she approached stuff. But I have to give it the Glow for the year. But like I said, Doechii is not to be slept on. She's a talented artist, and I think her content is there. And I also think she has a lot to offer because she's a hybrid. She's a hybrid artist that is able to sing, that's able to songwrite, and able to rap. And I think she's going to be a triple threat. And I think there's much more to come from her. And she's with the right team. So Doechii is the one to watch next. But I have to give it the Glow objectively for the whole year. I like the album. I listen to everybody who I have something opinion about. I listen to the music. And Glow had a solid album, man. I can't ignore that. So that's what I'm going with.
Super duper.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm gonna say that I think that Doechii is the most talented out of this group of females. Overall, just period. I think she's the most talented. She displayed the most skill, but realistically, I gotta go with Glow too. I mean, you heard the music. She was outside. I was talking to a female earlier today about this list and what we was going to do, and I mentioned Doechii, and she was like, "Who?" So I mean, Glow is outside, man. Me personally, out of all these females that I would say who I listen to on a personal level, it would probably be Shay Noir. For me, that I'm more familiar with her music, somebody that I will actually get in my car and play. But the rest of these females, I mean, in Rhapsody at times, depending on the song. But I mean, I can't hate on Glow. I think that she definitely was the female artist of the year. Her songs is outside. I couldn't go to any state, any club, anywhere without hearing her music. So I think it's.
I've heard you guys say Doechii. I've heard you guys say Glow. I heard Leroy say Rhapsody, but there's only one clear-cut winner of this category of 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. Right. It is Lotto, Sugar Honey Iced Tea, the Georgia Peach herself.
What a surprise.
Lotto, stage presence. Because we don't talk about stage presence enough on this platform. Stage presence, breath control, and the way you can control a crowd, her music videos.
So you saying, hold on, my brother. You saying Lotto got more stage presence than Doechii?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. If you've seen the presence, if you've seen the presence,
performance game is amazing.
If you've seen the presence of Lotto, you understand what I'm saying. But anyway, next category.
I understand. I see the presence.
I got the poll up right now. I
understand. No, I see the presence of Lotto's sister too. I understand.
Who won the other poll? Who won the slept on poll?
38 won the slept on.
You did?
Yep. All right, so what we got next?
Oh, and that Lotto interview is coming. A Lotto interview is coming. We got the male MC of the year of 2024. Okay. Who we got on the list? We got Kendrick on the list. We got Freddie Gibbs on the list. Who else we got on the list? We got Future, J. Cole.
All right.
Common.
All right.
What we got? Mike, start us off. Yeah, start us off, bro.
I mean, the answer is Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is, Complex normally doesn't get these things right when they do the best rapper alive for each year. But I think from a mainstream level, whenever you have somebody like Kendrick Lamar, who's as skilled as he is as an MC and as a lyricist, whenever he goes out there and has a big year, I think hip hop kind of comes together and feels like, okay, he deserves that, because normally a mainstream artist is a little bit watered down when it comes to, their lyricism and their lyrical approach. Kendrick's not that. I think Freddie had an incredible year, dropped an incredible project, but I think if we're talking about from end to end with this battle, with everything that it ignited, and then him actually delivering a project towards the end of the year, and then we got a Super Bowl halftime show announcement this year that's going to hit us in the next couple of weeks, you got to say Kendrick's. It's his year. He got the biggest song, you know what I'm saying? Some of the most talked about records, the most talked about feature with Like That. And yeah, one of the most talked about hip hop albums of the year. So yeah, you got to give it to him. J. Cole's disqualified from this conversation as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I had to add that.
Right. Mike feels away, man. We got you.
Ronve, what's your thought on the artist of the male artist of the year?
It's Kendrick. Between the battle, between the Juneteenth celebration, between the Super Bowl announcement, he was the face of hip hop this year. Between Not Like Us, he kind of held it down on a mainstream level, just in terms of grandmothers were singing Not Like Us, little babies were singing Not Like Us, and you can't deny that from a cultural and just from a hip hop standpoint. Really, I was trying to think of who outside of Kendrick. I feel like Kendrick is the obvious one, but I'm really trying to think of who else sort of moved it for me.
Snoop.
Shout out to Snoop, man. Shout out to Snoop D-O-double-G, man.
Hey, cool, man. See,
great.
Get up out of here.
Hey, man, y'all gotta give put some respect on that man's name. But man, shout out to Common. Common really did drop one of my favorite albums this year, and I think if Kendrick hadn't have had the year that he had, I think Common probably would be up there for me, because I think to deliver such a quality project for both of them, to deliver such a quality project at that age, it's like fine wine, man. And I think the only thing that kind of got in their way was Kendrick, honestly. So shout out to them.
I agree. Yeah.
Leroy, then Cervon and Super.
I agree. I mean, when it comes to timing, if you notice from 2012 to 2024, Kendrick always strikes at a time to which we're all fully paying attention. So that's a timing strategy. I would encourage artists to look up, why does Kendrick strike at certain times? And why, when he strikes, it always gets automatic attention. You know, so that is a formula. It's not random. It's very calculated. Whoever raised Kendrick, they raised him right. And he knows when to strike. So I think that people should know that that's also a science. So I got to give it to Kendrick. But shout out to Common as well. But I'm gonna have to give it to Kendrick overall. You know what I mean? You know what I
Cervon,
mean?
what say you, sir? Then Super.
Yeah, I think it's clear cut Kendrick, but I want to get to this. We said MC of the year, right? MC stands for what? The crowd, right? What I
Yep.
see not only from Kendrick as far as his approach to the diss records and to the album and the impact he had this year, I also see him get out on that stage during the pop out and hold that stage down. And everybody had access to see that on Amazon. And I feel like that was the epitome of how MCs should approach. A lot of MCs do not have stage presence. A lot of MCs do not know how to command and demand a crowd at attention. I really feel like a lot of artists still cannot rap over without having their own vocals. That's still a problem in today with hip hop. It's Kendrick, man. I've seen him what he did on that stage, and it echoes the impact of the music. I think it's hands down Kendrick, man. There's no argument here on there.
Super duper.
I'm gonna give a little pushback. All right, just a little bit, just a little bit. This is a question for us too. Like, we probably should discuss this offline. But what's the difference between the MVP and the male artist of the year? What's the difference?
They're synonymous.
There's some females in the MVP. There's some females in the MVP.
I mean,
I'm with you on that, Super. I don't think we should have both. I mean, you kind of got to do one or the other, really.
Well,
I mean, because
I think the MVP could be a female. I mean, we got it's mixed. It's a mixed category.
I think that it's clearly Kendrick will probably be the best male artist of the year. But if I had to separate the two, and like I said, I know we got two categories, but if I had to separate the two, I would probably go with Future, man, as the heart. I mean, he put out the most work, man. He dropped 3 albums this year that all charted high, all hit billboards. He had the #1 streaming album of hip hop. We Don't Trust You is the #1. I mean, Kendrick put up numbers, but you go look it up. We Don't Trust You is the #1 streaming album of the year.
But
so,
what
I mean,
drove people to go listen to that? What was the lead single?
I mean, look, whatever. I'm not going, however it is, what it is. He still dropped 2 more after that charted high. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I get it that Kendrick could get both, but I mean, I don't know, man. I think that Future put it out. He was the hardest working man, I would say, in hip hop this year, especially as far as putting up numbers and filling the void for Drake being pretty much on ice for the year. So I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna give my nod to Future for male artist of the year, and I'm gonna give my nod to Kendrick for MVP.
I ain't mad at that. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna have to go male artist of the year is Kendrick. Anyway, moving on to the next topic.
J. Cole.
I was gonna say J. Cole because he didn't put out the Fall Off. If you put the Fall Off out, I would say J. Cole. He would have had it, but he didn't put out an album. Might Delete Later is not memorable, so I gotta say Kendrick from the Amazon performance to the Super Bowl announcement to 616 in LA to Euphoria to Meet the Grams, Not Like Us to GNX. I'm not a big Kendrick Lamar fan, but I gotta give it credit where credit is due. He's the male hip hop performer of the year. It is what it is.
All right, so we don't have to poll that one, right? Like, that's just
I mean, Like I said, I'm just offering a little bit. I'm just offering a little bit of pushback. But in the NFL, man, if you win the MVP, most likely you don't get the offensive player of the year too. You know what I'm saying?
Josh Allen gonna win both of those though. But anyway,
It's just when we big up hip hop and what hip hop fundamentally is about. This guy held down a great performance. He held his own in the battle. This guy was able to produce a solid project. I think if we really look at the category of what we consider this thing called hip hop, he kind of marked those check marks on what he was supposed to do as a rapper. So that's why I can't go against that compared to the other names. The other names listed was good, but when we get really down to what this hip hop thing is about, he went back to the elements. The only thing he didn't do is probably break dance and graffiti. But
as an individual, this is an all-time great year. Like this can go down as an all-time great year. Even though, like I said earlier, I don't feel like lyrically we got his best, but we did get a lot of things from him that we've never gotten before. I wasn't sure how battle-tested Kendrick was going to be. I think the most impressive thing he did this year to me was to drop 4 diss records in 4 days. Because the knock on him, at least for me, has been, you got to get, it takes 6 years for you to get a song from Kendrick. You know what I mean? And for him to be able to keep up with the pace of somebody like a Drake, I didn't think he was going to be able to accomplish that. And he did that in spades.
Right.
Imagine if you're in a battle with Drake. If you're in a battle with Drake, that's a serious opponent. So I got to give it to him.
Hey, one thing before we get to the next topic, and guys, you got to be a little bit more creative with your trolling. Coop, we know that's you in the chat. You're not a long-time viewer who just tuned in tonight and want to know what Coop is. Come on, guys. Stop it, man. Be more creative, brother. Anyway, next topic is a lot of legends came out this year, right? We had LL and Q-Tip. We had MC Lyte. We had Pete Rock and Common. We had who else? We had Master Ace come out. So the next category is going to be the A2HH Legendary Performance of the Year. And we had Snoop and Dre. What say you, Mike, is the legend that came out this year with the best? I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead and give your reasons.
No. Actually, I'm not going to say Snoop and Dre for this. I think that, and let me explain, where I'm coming from with that. I think Missionary is the best hip-hop album I heard all year, mostly because of what Dre did production-wise and how it dwarfs most of the things, if not all of the things that I've heard this year. Now, if we talk about just straight-up chemistry, though, and from the OGs and guys who we've never really seen come together and didn't have a previous catalog to contend with, this becomes a conversation for me between Common and Pete Rock and LL and Q-Tip. Now, it's two different dynamics, man, because Common and Pete Rock, they gave us what we thought we were going to get from them, and they gave it to us at high level. Whereas LL and Q-Tip was a little bit more experimental, but we also saw LL do some things that he had never done on the mic before, and we saw Q-Tip do some things that he had never done on the mic before. But, I mean, not on the mic, but on the production level. I'm getting a lot of background noise.
Leroy, man.
Oh, no, that's not me. I'm chilling.
So, all right, long story short, I'm going to give this one to Common and Pete Rock because I think that they had such a seamless connection, and I think Common vocally and approach-wise is so reminiscent, no pun intended, of CL Smooth that it's one of those things that just works effortlessly. And every single song that those guys put out, as far as singles goes, it was like, wow, this is refreshing. I think this man that's on that album is the best hip-hop song I heard all year. I think that LL Cool J and Q-Tip, I love what they were doing, but I agree with Cervon on this. I feel like I would love to hear them try it a second time to even improve on the model more. Now, we got word that Pete Rock and Common are going to do this again, but they didn't need a part 2, really, because they just seamlessly come together and they just connect like organically. And they've worked together before, but these are two worlds that make sense together. So I'm going to go with Common and Pete based on the work that they put together this year.
Ronve, what say you, sir?
Snoop and Dre, what are we talking about?
Man, come on.
Snoop and Dre. I think they what I appreciated about this album, with the Missionary album, was the growth. And in both of them, I think we're seeing Dre. We're seeing 30 years of production experience under Dre's belt, and him putting that experience to work with Snoop and being able to not necessarily match Doggy Style. There's no doing that, but being able to put together a solid, phenomenal project. And I think after that, I would have to go with LL and Q-Tip, mainly because it's a combination that I didn't see coming. That I was pleasantly surprised by how well they go together. And I think I would like to see a second stab at it. For me, it does. It kind of reminds me of King's Disease 1, where for me, King's Disease 1 wasn't necessarily perfect, but it had glimpses of greatness. And by the time they got to King's Disease 2, it was, they knocked it out the park. So outside of Snoop and Dre, I would have to say LL and Q-Tip.
Leroy Green.
I got to second what Mike and Vay is saying, man, because I'm a Common Sense fan, I'm a Snoop Dogg fan, I'm a Redman fan. These are people that I listen to regardless of what's going on. I'm listening to these three artists anyway. I was not expecting LL Cool J to come back through the door. When he came through the door with Q-Tip and they dropped the Force, I was pleasantly surprised. And why it's a good thing is because listening to LL Cool J growing up, I always thought this dude is intelligent. It's something that always strikes me about LL Cool J as, bro, this is an intelligent person. I could just tell by how he's delivering rhymes. So when I listened to The Force, it just confirmed what I always felt was there with LL Cool J. So I got to go with, incredible comeback and album with LL and Q-Tip. So I agree.
Fellas, real quick, I got to peace out. I got kids I got to put to bed. But man, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully I would love to get more chats in with y'all, man.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, man. Shout out to you, Vay, and the fan. We appreciate what you did for According to Hip Hop this year, and much more to come, brother. Much more to come.
Thank you for having me, man. Always a pleasure.
All day, brother.
Peace.
All right.
Cervon, what say you, sir?
So this I came to my conclusion. I like what LL did with Q-Tip, but there's a few disconnects on certain songs on there that I feel like they could spruce up and get it right if they were to go and do another project together. I also like his media run. I like that he went back and, because LL really doesn't have to do media. He sat with Charlemagne. He interviewed with everybody. He was outside. So I like his approach to it and taking it serious. My other thing would be for Missionary. Snoop spit at a high level. I have no knock on Snoop on this album, but there are some things that misses for people on Missionary. And this is why I'm going to give my answer of being Common and Pete Rock. There's no flaw on that album that I see. Yes, some of it is a little bit of a sound that I feel like I've heard from Common before, but an overall good project that I can't really put the flaws on there like I can with LL or what I can with Snoop. I just can't do it. Common has a complete good body of natural hip hop work on the Auditorium Volume 1, and I'm happy that they're announcing doing the second one. And that's really what I feel LL needs to do with Q-Tip, because there was some disconnects on certain projects where it just kind of felt like LL's voice in the music wasn't really connected par on certain songs. And like I said, Missionary, there were some things on there that people criticize. Sonically is right. I feel production is right. I feel Snoop did no wrong on that album, but I just kind of feel like Common and Pete Rock is the overall solid album that I don't have critiques on. I feel like it was flawless. I felt like it was a good, solid project. then that's who my pick is going to be.
Super Duper, what say you, sir?
Hey, you on mute? You on mute?
You on mute?
I think Ryan got me muted.
I'm
sorry. Good. You back?
Right. For me, it's gonna be LL, man. I think that I think I was more impressed with what LL was able to do than the other guys, being, you know, the length of time it was from when LL last dropped and everything, and just, I mean, I had low expectations for the album. I didn't think that it was I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did.
Same.
So for me, I gotta say that I was more impressed with what LL did as, you know, as LL Cool J, like the Mount Rushmore damn near. That's the OG, you know what I mean? One of the first rappers we damn near heard when we was coming up. And for him to still be able to improve on like his flow and his style and change up and not just come out as the same old LL from 85 or 90 or whatever and come out and be a different LL, I think I was just more thoroughly impressed with what he did than the other guys.
Right. I'm gonna go with Common and Pete Rock. I mean, that album, you know, to me sounded the most cohesive out of all these legends that put out albums this year. It's not like they were having fun. From a Pete Rock perspective, it reminded people how great of a craftsman he is when it comes to the beats and chopping up them samples and stirring up their soul. So it kind of brought back, you know, nostalgic vibes, but also sounded new and fresh. Common sounded reinvigorated on the mic. A lot of the work, like look at you know, This Man, Wise Up, Shy City, even the song Trying that they cut was a good record. So clearly out of the legends category, I got to give it to Common and Pete Rock. I'm looking forward to Volume 2. A lot of people slept on. We didn't even mention this, man, but MC Light album was really dope. It was really dope.
What was Master Ace's album?
Master Ace's was dope. So I would say
he would be my second pick, even over Common and Pete Rock too. I think I was more impressed by what the older guys did than Common. I don't think Common and Pete Rock, you know, like we don't have to have no debate about this, but I just wasn't impressed by what Common did on the microphone. Like I don't think that he didn't take any new steps. He was just same old Common. You know what I mean? Like, so it wasn't no surprise that the album would be good. I didn't think it was possible for it to be weak, but I thought we was gonna get a little bit more. And, you know, like I said it when it first came out, I thought the album was slightly mid and a little bit boring. And I think that he definitely could have took more chances. Just, you know, like as far as like Master Ace and LL Cool J, you know, I think they older than him, been out a little longer, but they took more chances. So that's why I'm a little bit more thoroughly impressed.
I think Pete
Master Ace is a master of automation.
Yeah, Pete was a star. Pete was a star auditorium. So out of all the legendary performers, I'm giving that the #1 album. Master Ace at a close second. Third, I would say MC Light. Fourth would be LL. And I'm sorry, I hate to say this to you, Mike, but the last on that list would be Snoop and Dre. Missionary is the.
Are we gonna go?
Let me just say this.
Album of the year?
Uh-huh.
Are we gonna go to most disappointing album of the year?
Missionary. Show's over.
I mean, everybody can't go. Everybody can't go was supposed to jet fuel past everybody. And what Benny didn't do is Benny didn't let go of the streets. But just real quick, Master Ace is a master album producer. Common, I'm not gonna say he's in his twilight years, but I've listened to the last 4 Common albums. Common is about chilling. He's not about he's chilling now. He's in a good space. He's relaxing. So if you ain't about relaxing, it's going to be kind of tough. Well, Master Ace, I think everyone could take something from his playbook. He raps a lot about his younger years. If you're an older MC and you tap back into your younger years with hindsight, you're going to create some incredible stuff because now you got hindsight on your younger years. That's a cheat code.
Oh, one second, Mike, before you go. We forgot about Ice Cube's album. I would put that ahead of Missionary, and I would put the Rakim album ahead of that, and then Chino XL too, and then Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye. So yeah, those would be before Missionary as well.
No,
but anyway,
I forgot about that Rakim album. That Rakim album definitely. That Rakim album definitely should be on the disappointment flop
Rakim
list.
just did the beats.
I'm
He
joking.
didn't-
I'm joking,
he
y'all.
did
I'm
the
joking.
beats.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
There's an honorable mention here that hasn't been mentioned, and it was one of my favorites this year from the OGs, and that was the Dog Pound album.
Yeah,
That Dog
I
Pound album
agree.
was good.
PG.
So that's my honorable mention for it. But
Yeah,
like I
And
said,
Lady
bro,
Ray had a verse of the year candidate on that album too.
yeah,
my
man.
favorite duo, Daz and Corrupt.
Ice Cube,
Yeah.
Ice Cube's album wasn't bad, y'all. Y'all sleeping on Ice Cube's joint.
I
Ice
I
think
Cube,
like
Dog
Cube's
Pound was better than Cube to me. I like the
I
production of Cube stuff. It's just
can't stand
and
Ice
Cube's a legend. This is no knock to him. I just feel like that dated flow over those more current beats, it just didn't connect for me. I love the content, the stuff that he was talking about, but it was a hard listen for me to hear Cube over those current sounding type beats with that old flow. As for to Super's point, I like to see OGs not only make projects but to push the envelope, and I felt like this is something I never heard from LL. The
I can
introspective,
agree with that.
him proving that he's lyrically want to go toe to toe with people that claim they're the best and stuff like that. I feel like LL kind of approaches like he had something to prove, but
He did.
take risks. You also could have some misses, and I don't think it was misses on anything he did lyrically. I just felt like it was a miss sometimes with his vocals and some of those beats that Q-Tip make, with it being more so experimental. It's not bad that they're
the
experimental.
details. The
Yeah,
details. Yeah.
sometimes you miss on that. But I like, and to your point, Common hasn't really took any risk since some of that production from Kanye early. But I still have to say it's that album with Pete Rock is kind of a flawless album. I can't really
The risk with Common is he's making music to perform. So you're having music or you're having raps over live instrumentation. And that can be a risk because if the drummer or the person goes off the path, you got to follow that path lyrically. So that's the challenge. But, Common, he's up for that task. The flop, or no, I won't say flop. The disappointment was Benny. Benny
Well,
was supposed to
time
take.
out. Are we gonna do song of the year first, or are we gonna do disappointing album of the year?
let's do song of the album. Let's do song of the year, album of the year, then disappointment, and then Super wants to end with hater of the year, and we'll do it in that
Hater
order.
of the year.
So Mike, hit us with the song, then we'll go album, then we go disappointment, then we'll go hater of the year, and then we'll close out the show with what we're looking forward to in 2025.
No doubt.
All right. Well, song of the year is Not Like Us, isn't it? I mean, it is
For
what
sure.
it is. I think the best song, like I said, the best hip hop song I think I've heard all year is This Man by Common and Pete Rock. And again, Pete Rock to me is the MVP on that. That beat is insane. But if we're just being objective here, song of the year has to be Not Like Us. I don't even know what second place.
I thought you were gonna say Gorgeous, Mike, with some Snoop.
I like Gorgeous. I was listening to it this
Ron,
morning.
if you don't get out of here,
I like Gorgeous. I think Gorgeous is dope, man. Like, I think when you go from Shayla Ra, whatever,
don't trust
the
Ron,
intro,
man.
and then it goes into Out of the Blue, and then it goes into Hard Knocks, and then it goes into Gorgeous. Like, this album's front line.
Mike, I'm just fucking with you, man. Mike, I'm just fucking with y'all. But we be giving picks all night, and you ain't mentioned not one damn song from this album.
Well, I'm trying to be fair. I think it's when it comes to an album and a collection of pieces of work, I think it stands alone. I do think that we're in an era where, there are a lot more isolated songs than there are complete projects. And I think when it comes to complete projects, this Missionary album just stands alone. And they all actually, Out of the Blue, if y'all remember, I wasn't a big fan of Out of the Blue like that when it came out as a single. But in the flow of the album, I like the song even better.
Same. I agree.
So you got Not Like Us. Leroy, what say you, sir?
I'm gonna have to go Not Like Us. I mean, the song I probably played the most is Conway Give and Give. It was something about the beat and the rhymes, but obviously Not Like Us. I mean, again, when you knock Drake, I don't think people understand how colossal Drake is in the music business, in hip hop. When you knock Drake down a peg, that is not an easy task. You know what I mean? So
hold on, time out real quick. I want to say something real quick. We got 20 votes on this. Who should be A2HH's Legend Performer of the Year? And Common and Pete Rock and LL Cool J and Q-Tip are tied right now. But we only got 20 votes. We got like 80 something people in here. So if people didn't know you could vote, go ahead and vote so we can actually get a winner here.
Common got the show though. Common's album is really a performance. If you watch the show, then you get how the album plays into his performance. That's another level. That's another layer that LL didn't have. But I give it to LL for his contribution. But Common overall, you're talking about one of the greatest MCs to walk the planet. So
but you got Not Like Us, Song of the Year.
Not Like Us. Yes.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Cervon,
Yes,
what say you, sir? What song of the year?
It's Not Like Us. There wasn't a song bigger than that this year. The only one outside of that rang off just as much was Like That by Future, but still, Not Like Us is there's nothing competing with that song being the best song of the year. It's just hands down. Even if me not being a fan and just being totally objective, I can't deny the fact that Not Like Us is being played everywhere. It took over. So I have to go with that.
Super Duper, what say you, sir?
Man, all y'all crazy. I'm just playing, man. It's obvious as hell. It's obvious as hell, man. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
We ain't playing with our credibility right now.
I'm not trying to be a contrarian here, but I'm gonna say the best song to me was 616 in LA. But that's anyway. Yeah, that's me. That's my song of the year, 616 in LA. But
I mean, it is what it is, man.
But
it made the most noise. It's the song that everybody know and repeated and was dancing to and stepping on Drake's grave too. So
it's crazy. Family Matters is not a bad record, but Not Like Us is the song of the year. But but it is what it is.
I personally think Family Matters is the better record, but I can't say that. I
always disagree with that, man.
Let me say this. I personally like Family Matters better than Not Like Us, but I can't say that, I can't say that Family Matters should be Song of the Year over it. Yeah. Now, are we doing Verse of the Year?
I didn't get a graphic for it, but we can. But let's finish up with the album of the year, and then we'll do that. So you can tee it up. What's the album of the year, Mike?
Album of the year is Missionary by Snoop Doggy Dogg. Or Snoop Dogg. I'm sorry. I'm not going to call him by his death row name.
All right. Cervon. Leroy, what's the album of the year, sir?
Album of the year is Common and Pete Rock, man. The Auditorium Volume 1.
Okay.
Classic hip-hop. Classic.
Cervon.
I think younger artists, y'all need a landing strip for when y'all done with y'all career and y'all ready to chill. This is how y'all go chill. You know what I mean? Auditorium Volume 1.
Cervon, album of the year for you, sir.
Yeah, I know I just previously said that Common and Pete Rock is damn near kind of flawless in the approach of a complete album, but I have to say that for GNX as well. I don't think people kind of understand the route that Kendrick was taking and what he was doing on GNX, but it hit for me because I knew what he was doing and what his point was after coming off winning a culture battle. Then you go back to the roots of your culture of LA. I feel like it's, it goes hand in hand. I have to go with GNX's album of the year.
I ain't mad.
Super Duper.
The certain approaches that he took to certain songs, like a Reincarnated or the Heart Part 6 was my favorite. Heart Part 6 is my favorite song on the album. Or I hear Luther, or I hear Man in the Garden, and it has an array of the bops, the introspective, going back to the roots of LA and all that. Like GNX, hands down, man. I got to give it to him.
No doubt.
Album of the year for you, sir.
Freddie Gibbs, You Only Die Once, and it's the album of the year. It's the album of the year for me, for a couple of good reasons. But the main good reason that I'm calling it album of the year is the songs is fire. But it's the only album that I can damn near say one of the only albums I can say that dropped this year. That when we turned on the podcast or I heard anybody talk about it, everybody loved it off top. It didn't have mixed reviews. Most people was like, yeah, that shit was fire. Everybody was like, yeah, it's fire, it's fire, it's fire. GNX got mixed reviews from people. you know, like most of them albums, Missionary got mixed reviews from people. What's the other ones on the list right now? I can't
Auditorium
think.
Volume 1.
Auditorium. People, when that album dropped, people was coming right in the chat talking about how mid it was. Nobody complained about the Freddie Gibbs album, pretty much. I mean, it might have been a handful, but for the most part, when Freddie dropped and we talked about it, he got fire emojis. So for me, I'm gonna say it's Freddie Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna say it's Freddie Gibbs because when it came out and it dropped on first listen, you didn't have to grow on it. You didn't have to sit with it for a week. Off top, people liked it. So I'm saying Freddie Gibbs because I think that most people thoroughly enjoyed it without having a reason to want to enjoy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just, you know,
I got you.
That's my opinion on it. Freddie Gibbs.
What you got, Ron?
I'm gonna go with Common and Pete Rock. Is my favorite album of the year. Again, it's the most cohesive album. It's that sound like they're having fun and in their bag on it. Honorable mention for me is I don't want to start a panic in the chat, but honorable mention is Vultures 1. And we didn't even talk about that at all, but Vultures 1. And but that's for another topic. But Pete Rock, Common album of the year for me.
I mean, just to go back to your point, and the point that Super made was a good point, because sometimes you have albums that are undeniable, right? Like, say when Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy dropped or whatever, right? Or Chronic 2001. But I think sometimes when you have people thinking about, like, is this album good? I think that's what you want, though. I think you want mixed reviews. If everybody just loves your stuff, then I think maybe you were following a formula. Just throwing it out there. But if you have mixed reviews, it lets me know that you are mixing up your bag. So that's my only rebuttal to what he was saying. But Freddie Gibbs, of course, is a dope MC who makes dope music. I can't argue with Freddie Gibbs, so I understand. Yeah, man.
It looks like right now in the poll, I mean, we got 15 votes. It looks like it's between Auditorium Volume 1 and G and X.
You know, out of all of these albums, because these all were great albums, and I did have Gibbs in my top 10, but out of all these albums, when I hit the check marks on what do it, is like, do you have the bops? Do you have the impact? Do you have the lyrics? I feel like, and then culturally, I feel like bringing the LA culture and featuring those LA artists, even from down to the Hispanic singer you had on there, down to, you know, you really going back to embracing that LA or that Cali sound. You know, I hear a lot of stuff that sound like Bay. I heard a lot of stuff that, you know, sound like the current LA culture. I just feel like culturally, this album, you know, kind of did a lot. And this is an album that people talked about. I didn't really hear people talk about these other albums like that, sadly. So I have to give the GNX. Even though Freddie Gibbs had a solid album, it was cool, but it didn't have those hit records on there. It didn't have it just, there's a lot of things that for all these albums that Kendrick had that a lot of these albums didn't have. And it doesn't knock them being good, but it's just like it goes over a broader audience when you do that. And I feel like Freddie Gibbs he's more of a niche artist, and that's why I couldn't give that over Kendrick, because I just feel like his impact was a little bit bigger.
You know, I gotta acknowledge Missionary has not gotten one single vote. All right.
It is, yeah, good. I mean, hey, to me, and again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm from California. If you don't listen to Snoop regularly, it ain't for you. It's like Redman. If you don't listen to Redman's albums when he's not popping, if you listen now, you ain't gonna feel it. You're not a Redman fan. But, you know, Snoop, exactly what I expected to hear from Snoop is exactly what I got. So exactly what I got is what I thought I would get.
So this leads us right into our next topic, the flop of the
Snoop
year.
Dogg.
Mike,
man, hey, you out of order for having Megan Thee Stallion on there when you know it should be J. Cole with Might Delete Later. I don't know how you don't got Might Delete.
Man, my computer wouldn't allow me to put J. Cole there. Man, it was tripping and buffering. But Mike, since we talk about flops and Snoop,
yeah, let's talk flops. I'm not even gonna count Fat Joe because I will say this.
Oh man,
Fat Joe has had the worst album rollout that I think I've ever seen in the history of hip hop.
Yes.
I mean, how do you go on your album rollout and then turn around and now you're a racist? But whatever.
See,
you got on a platform to try to get people to buy your album, and then the opposite happened. I don't think I've ever seen that in hip hop. So,
damn it, man.
I will say that if we're gonna talk flops, I think flop rollout award, if there is one, definitely goes to Fat Joe. But let's keep it to the music. I'm gonna go with Might Delete Later, and I might delete this later because the album title, even saying it, irks me to the point that this nigga literally went out there and named an album. I might delete this later, and was talking all kind of tough talk, talking all kind of I'm this, I'm that, and then 2 days later got on stage. I don't want to say crying. I don't want to be, whatever. But you love Kendrick, right? And then he deleted the stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, you playing this the whole time. You wanted to see what the reaction was going to be and if people were fucking with it or not. And the fact that people was kind of like, iffy with it, you hit the delete button. And to me, I don't think anything is a worse flop than that. That is quitting, in my opinion. Like, that's the worst thing to call somebody in sports is a quitter. I don't think I've ever seen anybody quit in a battle like that. And again, I would say it's taking the higher road or whatnot, and I get that.
That's his homie.
I think Cole is a great guy, but I think the fact that he named this album Might Delete This Later, it takes all of that off the table for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, you playing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he would have named this something else, and then he's like, you know what, I had to change of heart or whatever.
Nah, he can't plan this.
It's like, might delete this later. Nah. Yes, that's the most.
He can't plan that because he would have to plan
the year to me because we don't even think about that project anymore because he deleted it.
But to plan it though, I don't think he can plan that.
You don't think he planned it? He said it in the title.
Well, that part, yes, but to plan that Kendrick was gonna go at them, I don't think he could plan that. You know what I mean? But I hear you.
This gives Kendrick even more further for the fact that this was his year. He dominated, and he dominated the three guys that people say were the big three. The other two guys, excuse me.
Here's my thing about that take on Cole. Him apologizing doesn't make a whole project a flop. That was a solid project. Let's not do that. It was an overall solid project. He was spitting on there. Yeah, we never seen a dude really back out like that, but I really don't think it's that serious of what the internet's making it seem because he's back doing the audio podcast, dropping bonus tracks that was on Forest Hills Drive. He did the Madison Square Garden stuff. I don't think he's losing his base off that, and I really think people are just going to forget that shit. I don't think it's as egregious. People are not really making it. It's not as egregious as it sounds. It's crazy because I did feel like you taunted a dude. He was kind of braggadocious, like you wanted to welcome the battle and you backed out. And I'm like, okay, yeah. To me, I do feel like that's corny. I do feel like it was lame. But I can't say that is the reason why that project's a flop because that was a solid project. There's nothing musically on there that's flop worthy. I'm just gonna be totally honest.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Cervon, on that. I don't think that musically it's a flop. It's just a flop just because it's associated with J. Cole and shit. Like it's a flop anyway. And then definitely that's what I'm saying. Like how you got Megan Thee Stallion up here?
You know why I got Megan. You know why I got Megan up there. You know why I got Megan up there, Super, to answer your question? Because she was twerking for Kamala and Kamala got smoked. That's why she got the biggest flop.
That's totally unrelated. She got paid to perform and she performed. That's unrelated.
It was a flop. Go ahead.
I was Megan, I'd be acting like 50 Cent out here. Like I would take that bullet wound and turn it into a whole movie. But go ahead.
I gotta go with Leroy. I gotta go with Leroy on the flop of the year, though, man. The flop of the year is Benny the Butcher. Everybody Can't Go. I mean the Def Jam signing, the major, the major release, the major budget. and musically that shit flopped. So for me, the biggest flop of the year, even though Benny made up for it with the
Summertime Butch.
I can't think of the names. Yeah, Summertime Butch and in the mixtapes, Stab and Shot 2 with 38. He made up for the beginning flop of the year. But if I had to choose an album that was slightly anticipated, as much as it was, and with all the expectations of him making that crossover and being on a big label and crossing over from the so-called underground, Benny dropped the ball earlier this year, and I gotta say, Everybody Can't Go is the biggest flop of the year.
What did you pick, Cervon?
What was the list again? Can I get the list?
Yeah. We just I think it was a freestyle list. Whatever you think is the biggest.
I'm not mad at what Super said. I mean,
it's whatever you think is the flop of the year.
The biggest flop. The biggest flops to me have to be those Griselda guys, man. It just, I tried to go listen to them, couldn't get through, both of their albums. I that's the flop for me, man. I mean,
Benny had the hardest task. Benny had
the West Side or the Benny.
But I say both to me, man. I was disappointed in both albums.
All right, well, we'll put West Side up there.
Benny had the task of taking over the mainstream. Snoop Dogg is already taking over the mainstream. Kendrick is already taking over the mainstream. J. Cole, Drake. Benny was coming from not being in position to taking over that position. He had the hardest road.
Man, there's enough for everybody.
What he did wrong,
he didn't make good music.
He stuck to the streets. And I'm not mad at that because
somebody in the chat said apparently Benny can't go either.
Yeah.
Well, Benny stuck to what he does best. But he should have left the streets behind. I'm sorry. He should have told the streets, look, I'm gonna give y'all Tana Talk 5 next year. But right now, I'm gonna go get this money. And he should have went and got the money.
Let me say this.
It shouldn't still be hot. It just wasn't hot to me. I'm just gonna be honest.
Let me say this. Let me say this real quick. And I think everybody in here can appreciate this. And I'll let you go, Ron. I think that this tough transition for Benny specifically and Griselda altogether just shows you how special somebody like Jay-Z was from Reasonable Doubt to Volume 1 to transitioning into Volume 2. That transition that he was able to make so seamless is very difficult for these guys who are very talented, who have a core, who have a base, who have made some dope projects. But Jay made that transition seem a lot easier than it really is.
Of course, because the thing is this, I could talk to y'all about the streets because you already know about the streets. So it's easy for me to talk to you about it. My job is to talk to somebody who has no clue about the streets and make it relatable where they can feel it. That's
hard not to like.
I don't even want to go even that deep on it. Just make good music. That's all. Just make good music.
Saying, right. Jay-Z was able to make people in the suburbs who come from great backgrounds, who come from all the opportunity to feel his pain as a hustler. That's very hard to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got three flops of the year real quick before we go to the next topic.
Okay, here we go.
Number 3, Vultures 2 was a big flop. I think it got lost in the shadows of all the Kendrick and J. Cole and Drake beef. Vultures 1 is actually pretty solid, but Vultures 2 kind of was disappointing, and it caught that brick. It was a flop. West Side Gun, you got Psycho Sid on the cover of the album. I thought he was gonna come back to that 10 sound, that 10 flavor, but that album was kind of whack. So I gotta give West Side. I was really disappointed and Still Praying. And then the biggest disappointment would be an album we won't be listening to in a year from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now, with 2 of the biggest stars in the game and history. Is The Missionary is the biggest flop to me. I mean, the album sounds bad. I mean, I thought it was a solid album, but it's a disappointment because we won't be thinking about the album in a year from now.
If they go on the road, it's over.
So big flop. To me.
Eat your words in the future.
I ain't mad. Go ahead, Cervon.
You can go get you off. What's on your mind?
No, I was just gonna say I ain't mad at the Missionary pick, but I think it's a low blow like really for Snoop and Dre at this point. Like I said, I don't think that the album is as bad as you saying, Ron. I mean, I don't think it's definitely not album of the year, but it's not trash. And like, you know, Snoop came through on there. Snoop was nice. Snoop held it down.
Right.
Like I do got a problem with some of the production.
Ron
Snoop
don't
held it
mess with
down,
Snoop
man.
Dogg. Don't let Ron fool
No,
you.
I do
Ron
mess with
said
Snoop
in his
Dogg.
album.
I listen to
No,
Rhythm and
Ron does
Gangsta.
not mess
I
with
listen to
Snoop Dogg.
Rhythm
He
and
said
Gangsta,
the
the Blue
last
Carpet. I
album,
listen to Rhythm and Gangsta and the Blue Carpet treatment this weekend.
Rhythm and
And I
Gangsta was
think
the last
they should
album
have got
Ron listened
Pharrell. They should have got
from
Pharrell to write
Snoop.
these hooks on Missionary, and the album would have been better. They should have brought
All I'm
Pharrell
saying
in
is
to do
though,
some stuff. That's what they
how
should have done.
disappointed can you be in a guy's like 12th album versus a guy's
It's his 30th album.
All I know
debut
is
album.
This is the guy in his prime, right?
All I know is Mike's been putting up polls all night, and Missionary has not got one vote.
This
So
is Snoop
obviously
Dogg's
people agree with
30th
me
album.
and not you, Leroy. And that's all I got to say.
He's got to vote on this one, I must admit.
Count Snoop's albums. It's his 30th album. That's insanity. That's
I think hands
like
down,
KRS
everybody gonna say everybody can't go, because I remember when that album came out, how crazy the chat was going, how everybody was going ham on
Can't
it.
Go is winning this one. Looks like.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, Benny had the hardest job. Benny was supposed to revive
it's a bad
Def
album
Jam.
either.
Nobody can do that. No artist out here can revive Def Jam. So Benny had the hardest job. Because nobody.
I don't think he helped his cause either by saying it's the hardest Def Jam album since It's Dark and Hell Is High or whatever he's.
Yeah.
But what is he supposed to say though? What is he supposed to say?
Nothing is what you're supposed to say.
No, but if we talk about hustling, there has been no hustler rapper out here that's moving the needle like Benny, unless we're talking Pusha. But Pusha been out here for 20 years. So that he's right in the sense that ain't nobody moving the needle on hustle rap but me.
But that's a different argument.
I don't even agree with that, dog. He never didn't get over his hump. Benny and like the Griselda guys is gonna be in their space where they're gonna be in. I don't see them taking it to the next level. That's the issue. And it's not, it has nothing to do with whether street, non-street, or whatever. The music is just not connecting. The music is not good, bro. That flash in the pan that they had, I respect them as MCs, but that flash in the pan that they had just never excelled to further heights. And, you know, for him to make a statement like that, the Def Jam statement, and deliver the way it did, I can't say it's not a flop. Like when we look at record sales, consistent album sales there are, and people say Missionary, that's kind of on cue with how album sales have been going according to the streaming era. And I have no problem with that from Dre and Snoop. But I do have a problem when you guys are supposed to be the essence of like MCing and be spitters and the things that you say, and you're on Def Jam, which Def Jam hasn't been shit in a lot of years. But like to be at this point where it's like, all right, we're ready for these albums, you guys don't deliver. The music is just not good, man. It is what it is.
But he's not talking to you with the album. He's talking to some kids that are suburban cheerleaders.
I don't care.
That's who Def Jam is talking to.
They're
not talking to you. Respectfully though, but they're talking to the suburbs. Now to make Tana talk translate to the suburbs is very hard. That's difficult. That's very hard.
That's like saying that if you want to say that, then you got this is what I don't like. If we're gonna do stuff like that, we can't move the goalposts on people like Eminem, because Eminem don't talk to people like us either.
He doesn't.
He kind of does though, because M is talking to lyrical heads.
That's for the white American kids that's in the suburbs that's rebelling against their parents. That's what that
But Redman
was that a flop too? Was the Death for Slim Shady a flop too?
Em's album did Eminem talk to the same group this year.
Redman and Eminem
it was still a flop though. It was still a flop. I would still call it musically a flop.
Yes, I'm calling it that too. I agree with you.
But we can call that musically a flop and not say it's super difficult. Musically not a flop. When you say, "Oh, he's speaking to so and so," how can we say that's musically a flop? Because it doesn't connect with you.
Well, I don't agree with Leroy's statement. So I don't know. I don't agree with what Leroy.
I mean, the people buying records are like suburban white girls. I'm just letting you know.
Let's just say that.
That's the challenge.
Fact. Then what does that say about us then?
Wait, it doesn't say
We don't
nothing
buy
about us. It
albums.
just says that
That's a word for white girl.
We go to shows.
So we're used to it already.
If he want to
We're
limit Eminem to just that, and he had one of the highest selling albums of the year, then what are we gonna say about Benny and them? Why is the support not there if it's so-called good music? It just wasn't good, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly Cervon. That's exactly
we've
what I've been
heard
saying.
like a million gangster raps. So
Exactly what I've been saying. Where's the
we're not
support?
impressed.
If the music is so good, where's the support? That's what I've been saying.
We've
I've
heard
been
a
very
million
consistent.
I like these guys. It's
Where's
not
the
slight
support?
to them. It's just that it just wasn't good, bro.
Wise words spoken, Cervon.
That's it.
Cervon, those
Hey,
are wise
that's
words
it,
spoken, my
that's
brother.
all.
Cervon, those are wise words spoken. We don't get the super duper. Those are very wise words spoken,
It's about
Cervon.
being
Because
good.
if the
I mean,
music
that's
was
easy.
like that, we would have some support. But
Good
that's a very good point,
is easy.
Cervon. Super. Go ahead. What's the biggest flop for you?
I mean, sell a million
Like
records.
I said, I mean,
if it's that
Yeah,
easy,
he already said what his
sell
is.
a million records.
Oh, so we're gonna go to hater? We're gonna go to the hater of the year?
Yeah, let's go to the hater. Yeah, next category.
So Benny won that, right?
Actually, it looks like Missionary's winning right now.
That's the biggest flop.
Yes.
They going ham on
somebody's faking Mad Max. I don't believe that's Mad Max in the chat. That's somebody who hacked your account. Go ahead.
Hater of the year. Hater of the year. Tee us up, super duper.
Hey, hater of the year award, man. Off top, man. Let's just jump right into this shit. I mean, for me, it's hands down Fat Joe. Fat Joe is hater of the year. I mean, he could have saved himself, but he brought this whole shit back up. I don't even know why. I mean, I guess they asked him the question, but he had no business even hopping back out of his grave with this black people. It was already said and done, man. Like this was old news. This conversation happened about 6 months ago, so there's no reason for him to rehash this Puerto Ricans created hip hop 50-50 argument. It's like it was unnecessary. And then for him to go all off the deep end and talking about the black authority, don't even know what FBA mean, using shit that he don't understand, calling people hate groups. I mean, for me, it's Fat Joe, hands down, hater of the year. I get Dame. I get people want to say Dame Dash, but Dame been telling this same story since Rockefeller broke up. So I mean, I don't think that he ain't hating on and saying nothing new against Jay-Z to be considered a hater. And I actually believe Dame. I believe that Dame feel the way that he feels. So I don't think that he hating on Jay-Z. I think he just telling this story.
Of hating?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I think he just telling this story. I don't think that he hating on
20
Jay-Z.
years of telling your story. Like
I just think that he telling the story.
So every year you tell us the same story. I'm sorry, Dame Dash, but you're hater of the year. Let me tell you why. Because I know for a fact when you do music, you get the paperwork in the splits. So if you really had a problem, you could just post the paperwork. Problem solved. So the reason why you're still talking is because you know Jay don't owe you nothing.
The arguments that
get paid. I know for a fact that people who are co-founders of their own companies get paid. I know that for a fact. So you're saying you didn't get paid? You are lying, sir.
I don't think he'd ever said that. I mean,
he's saying Jay pay him what he's supposed to pay him, sir. You're a co-founder. By law, you get paid. You're a co-founder of the company. So I know you're capping. These other people don't know you're capping. I know.
But for me, Dame telling his story ain't hate. Like, you know what I mean? I think that if he really wanted to hate on Jay-Z or try to kick his back in, it would be the perfect time for him to do it right now if he wanted to.
He did though.
He really didn't, man. He said that he don't believe that he did that shit with the fake case. He ain't trying to pour salt on Jay in that way.
What Dame did is he left it up for insinuation. That's what Dame did.
I mean,
when Dame is speaking how he's speaking, that's like you was with this guy this whole time. And it's kind of like, well, like the way he's speaking is like it could be possible, but I ain't gonna say
he can shut it down, and he's not shutting it down.
But why would he? Like I said, why would we expect Dame to come throw Jay-Z some better?
Because as a man,
they've been letting Dame been getting salt poured on his name, or people just been assuming that he's hating.
By who?
Jay
by
not
the internet and all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like we just assume we just hear me out. We just assume Dame is lying. Jay will never come out and answer none of these questions. This is why Dame always say, like, why y'all never ask homie
what
that
would
shit?
Jay answer?
They never asked Dame these questions. They never asked Jay these questions. Dame is supposed to sit back and just.
And I got a rebuttal to that. You said that in interviews when people are asking Dame, and he's saying, why don't you ask Jay those questions? Does not Dame have his own network, America New? Why are you still talking about Jay? You control your narrative on your network, and you still decide to talk about Jay. You using that to uplift your network.
Yeah, but he ain't hating. He ain't lying on Jay. He just telling his story.
He's lying. He's lying.
Let me step in and say something. And I do agree with all of these points. I do think that Dame, unfortunately, has succumbed to the pressures of going out there creating clickbait, because he knows that anything that he talks about, they want to hear him talk about Jay. He's given the people what they want per se, but it's still a wrong move because, again, it comes across as the hater. Now, one of the problems that I had with, how Dame presented one of the, I guess, Jay stories is he kind of insinuated that they drugged him or something like that. Like, now that was a hater move. That was unnecessary.
He didn't say they drugged him, man. He said they was trying to get him.
He said no.
He said he took a drink of some juice, saying he felt funny or something along those lines.
He was saying about the Ciroc when he was up there at Drink Champs. He said they kept trying to insist that he drink the Ciroc.
No, he had a Duce story too.
I would not say that.
He had a Duce story.
So, all right. I don't think Dame is hater of the year. I do think that there's a strong case for 50 Cent, though. I will say that. And Super, you made a great point, and this is what makes me lean, no pun intended, towards Fat Joe. When somebody disagrees with you on something, instead of making your case, you chose to call them a hate group. I think that right there is the ultimate hater move. That was unnecessary.
No doubt.
All you had to do was just be like, look, I know what I know. You can ask this person, and this person, and it can prove what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. But to just dismiss somebody who has a documentary out there on the subject that you're speaking on as a hate group, that puts a target on people's backs. And I think that's just... that's the number one.
And too with this too, man. Everybody else that's been engaging, like Lord Jamar, been pretty respectful. You know what I mean? Tariq Nasheed been very. He been very respectful.
No, he's not. No, he's not, bro.
Oh, is Jaguar Wright a hater?
No, he has not.
Hey, Jaguar Wright definitely. Like she should definitely made that list. She should have been on that list.
I have to say Dame, bro, and I have multiple reasons why I say Dame. The Rock broke up how many years ago? Dame has not been successful in anything since. Everybody else has moved on and did different things with themselves. Dame is still talking about some shit that nobody's even asking him.
Y'all acting like he wasn't just in litigation. Like he just had to sell the Rockefeller shares. They've been going back and forth in litigation.
No.
They've been suing each other or blocking each other from
Why is he hating on Bleak?
Right, but he tried to make himself out to be a victim. Like, I used to work with Rockefeller. I'm a victim. Bro, working with Rockefeller is a blessing. You're not a victim. So stop.
Okay, we gotta put this to the people, man, because we could be talking about.
I want to say the biggest hater for me is a tie. I want to say it's Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They're the biggest haters of the year. You know why? Because their diss records had a lot of hate in them. And like, for example, Kendrick say he hates the way he looks, the way he dresses. He hates the women that you hate the women that you mess with. And then Drake saying his baby moms with his cheat. That's some hate. That's hating, man. That's some hating shit, man. But go ahead, Cervon.
On some real shit, I got Kendrick as number 2 hater of the year.
I'm gonna keep us back, bro. We have to say Dame, because if we take even the Jay-Z shit, why are you saying the things that you're saying about Bleak? Why are you saying the things that you're saying about Nori? Why are you saying the things you're saying about Kevin Hart? How is all these, like, Dame is a hater, bro. You get on these podcasts and you're going against everything that what you once said, the chatty patty shit. You're going on platforms, even being on your platform, and you're being a chatty patty. He's talking like a bitch.
Nah,
right,
man. I
this is
disagree,
what I got,
man.
right?
Like all
Name us a
all
hater.
these guys that go ahead, Mike.
Hold on,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I can only put 4 people. So I got Dame Dash, I got Fat Joe, 50 Cent. Now, should we put Kendrick or Jaguar Wright or Drake? Like what we doing?
Jaguar Wright.
You got a
Jaguar Wright.
solid
Jaguar Wright takes the game.
Jaguar. I can't even count her. I think she needs help. I think she needs a hug, some help. I mean, I'm sorry,
put
y'all. We're now
Jaguar Wright.
entering a place where it doesn't even matter if you're guilty. Just because someone says
Hey,
you're guilty, you're
You
guilty.
put Drake on there though.
Two stakes for
Drake
that.
and this lawsuit shit is definitely some hater shit too, man.
Oh, that is some hater shit.
But listen,
Some
Dame
haters.
Dash, your own story is credible enough. You don't have to bring down Jay. Your own story is credible enough to where you can make your own bones out there and do what you got to do.
Let's get Dame
fact
on.
that
Let's get Dame.
bringing down Jay,
Let-
it just makes no. Jay hasn't said your name in 20 years.
Well,
Let's get Dame. Let's
be
get Dame
honest,
on the
though,
platform.
guys. Jay is such a huge figure. He's not going to
Let
sit
it
down
go.
with somebody that's going to ask him anything
Let
about
it
Dame.
go.
I'm sure they already have questions.
Let it-
That are
Let's get
20
Dame.
years later.
Let's get Dame on the
20
platform.
years?
Let's interview Dame. Let's not ask him
I
any
would
J
love to.
questions. And let's not ask him any J questions. Let's ask him about his
If-
life, his
if I
music.
interview Dame, I'm gonna say, Dame, you are the definition of a hater.
Man,
Well, I
like
don't
I
wanna
said,
do that.
Well,
I'm
then
not.
you're not
You
getting
are
interviewed.
the definition of a hater. You are
Man,
the logo.
You'll
If
be
there's
off
a
that day,
logo
Leroy.
of hater, you're the Jordan hater. You're
Man,
like the
y'all-
Jordan logo.
like I said,
Now,
man.
Fat
I
Joe,
think we
Fat
ain't.
Joe, real quick, we have to keep that same energy. What I liked about our response to Fat Joe is we got back at him with facts. We did not get super emotional. We got into our research bag and got on facts. So I respect that. Let's keep that energy. Second, my non-FBAs, people from the Caribbeans, Africa, we don't hate y'all. We love y'all. So it's no beef. Now, if y'all jump up to defend the government, then we might have a problem. But until
Michael
then,
Williams with the
Leroy.
super chat.
Okay, let's get.
We
Okay,
don't got
Leroy.
no beef.
Super chat.
Yeah, we don't want to get off course. Michael Williams with the super chat says,
Yeah.
I don't know if you covered it, but what do you think of Beyonce's NFL performance? Do you think that she'll win Album of the Year at the Grammys now? I don't think she'll win Album of the Year at the Grammys, but this is what I will say about Beyonce's performance. I thought it was an incredible performance. I think that, all of these comparisons to Michael Jackson and all that, I understand where people are coming from.
What?
I think that
she is that.
Mike,
She is that.
Mike, come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. You're the
No,
biggest
no,
Michael
no,
Jackson
no,
guy. Come on, Mike. Let's not do
No,
this
no,
now.
This
Ron,
era?
you
Stop
know
it.
who I am, and
Stop
you know
it.
what. Listen, let me
Don't
speak.
stop
Let me
it.
speak. No.
How
this
is she
what I'm
not?
saying.
Is
Hold
Drake?
on, let me speak. Let me speak on this. I think that what Beyonce has been able to do over her career and over the course of her career, as far as her performances go, she's had the opportunity to continue to evolve her stage show in ways that Michael didn't have the opportunity to do. I think that Michael started so young. He had so many miles on him at such an early age, and he was battling all kind of litigation at, a pivotal point in his career that his stage show didn't get the opportunity to evolve in ways that Beyonce's stage show has evolved over the years. But if we're talking about a one-on-one performer, no. Michael Jackson's something else. But if we're talking about being able to put together versatile stage shows with great musical direction, with putting together like this a collective of an all-star HBCU band on the field, all these transitions and all that, like Beyonce stuff is top notch, and she's the best performer of this era. Period.
Let me step in here real quick. Okay, let me first of all, I did see the NFL performance. Shout out to Netflix. Netflix is doing some amazing things with live content
Shout out to
streaming.
Netflix.
There's a company that took from. I was back with Netflix. They were shipping DVDs in the mail, and now they got games. They got all types of shit. So they make movies and TV shows, and now they're getting the live sports and boxing. So shout out to Netflix and what they did. Blockbuster, y'all made a big mistake. Not rock with them in the day. To Beyonce's performance, I thought the performance was cool. Again, it was a cool performance. There's nothing I haven't seen before from Beyonce. It didn't like blow me away. I've seen Beyonce perform before in Atlanta. I've seen her perform in Italy, and the shows were just okay. I thought when the On the Run tour, I thought Jay was the better performer. And I know it sounds crazy. He's not the greatest performer. I think he did a better show than Beyonce at that particular On the Run Part 2. And I just
That's
think
her husband. That's the same group.
And I don't think she'll win Album of the Year because really she didn't. The album is not all that good. Be quite honest with you. There's other country albums that are better. There are other albums that
Country
are
music,
better.
y'all need to be ashamed of yourself.
Now let me finish, man. Let me finish my point because I think I'm the only one on the panel that spends a lot of time in Nashville, and I know what I'm talking about. I hang out in these places and hear these musicians and these songwriters talk. And there's nothing racial about it. The songs are just not really like that. They just not like that. You talk about Chris Stapleton, Lainey Wilson. You talking about other people in the genre. Luke Combs. Her country music ain't like
there
that.
was nothing racial.
I'm just being for real. Leroy, let me finish. And I'm just being for real. It's the music. I ain't talking about nothing. It's just the music. So again, I mean, she's okay. Saying that she's Michael Jackson's a little stretch. And hearing people talk, I mean, I'm not a big fan, but they saying that girl Taylor Swift got the best show in the game right now.
It was nothing racial.
That's all I'm saying. So
Beyonce's race, no component.
I'm just telling you what the people tell me. They saying Taylor Swift got the best show in the game.
Her race plays no component. I think we got to be real in America. If you're telling me her race doesn't play a component, I strongly disagree. Now, the only thing I will say is excellence. Beyonce is known for excellence. If all of us focus on excellence, our problems are gone. I'm just right. If you don't believe me, all the artists, all the executives focus on the highest excellence. I guarantee you, when you get up after this year, after focusing on excellence, the world is going to be different for you.
And that's
Beyonce
a good way to
focuses on excellence. Now, to say race wasn't a point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like artist performers being. I don't like artist performers being compared to Mike. I feel like Mike is one of one. But when we start talking about great performers of these last, this generation, whatever, you have Chris Browns, you have Beyonce, and I'll even throw Travis Scott there, even though Travis Scott's not dancing.
He broke records. Multiple records. She just shattered records. Back to back.
Leroy, chill. Mute Leroy, man.
I've seen great performers, but like I feel like Beyonce, I watched her documentary that she did on the last tour that she did, and her work ethic is amazing, bro. Yeah. And she puts a lot into her show. Her supporting cast puts a lot into it. Her dancers. And for me, I feel like that work ethic shows in her performances. I will not compare to Mike because, like I said, Mike stands on a level of his own. But Beyonce is amazing, bro. I cannot minimize her performance, her work ethic. Every time she challenges to push the envelope. Because before this, I don't really do into country music, so I can't make a comparison of her album to other country albums. But she had a dance record that had the same amount of impact or bigger impact that she did that she went on tour on. And I felt like every time she just kind of tries to move the needle and establish a point or whatever. And I when we minimize people like Beyonce, we have to think like, what would we do if these people are not here? Who will be our greats?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't minimize her work ethic, and I'm just going to leave that there. I think she had a solid NFL performance. I think it's kind of sets a bar for a tough act to follow for the Super Bowl for Kendrick. So I love to see what he has to come with this. But yeah, man, Beyonce is amazing, man. I want
to say one more thing.
Show to actually do nothing but records that people weren't as familiar with from her as well. Her musical directors and musical direction and the way they put together their stage shows, it's top notch.
Can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing? I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but I think some of the pushback on Beyonce that some of her moves sound kind of like contrived, right? So first of all, she was like the Black Panther Beyonce. Before the Black Panther Beyonce, she had the HBCU marching band with the afro and the Black Panther setup. And then before that was a Thought Beyonce when she was in the club, and she was a Scorn Beyonce and I Don't Need No Man Beyonce. Now she's cowboy. Now she's Americana Beyonce, and it just seems inauthentic to me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It just seems inauthentic. It don't seem like a real artist. It seems like a caricature that's trying to hit a wave that's hot.
We fronting on the Panthers as
I
black
have
people?
to push back on that because I think Beyonce, her points that she's making when she's doing these different albums outside of genre is reinforcing that black people were involved in these genres of music. And I think that she's making, like, she did that on dance records. She's doing that on country. Like, I feel like what she's done for this last half of her career, I feel like she's proven a point of the blackness that's in these culture in these genres of music that you don't see today. And I think it opens up doors for other people to be able to do stuff. Because since Beyonce, we've got Shabuzi, we have gotten other people looking into that genre, but we have to realize where black music derived from. And I think she's making a statement to prove that. So I don't think it's pandering at all. Even with the dance album, what that was dedicated to her uncle and then that community of who celebrates that. There was a lot of people in that genre of music that didn't get the credit. There was a lot of women, black women that sung vocals on those type of records that weren't even featured in the videos because how they looked and stuff like that. I think she's making a very big, important thing of showing that music is still black music.
The women right next to her are the women that got overlooked. The women right next to her in the performance literally are the women she's singing about. But I mean, Michael Jackson was known for impact. Michael Jackson's known for impact.
2025.
What do you think Beyonce?
Let's wrap up. 2025 predictions. Is that what we're wrapping up?
Just the last topic. 2020. What are we looking forward to? Predictions. 1 or 2 points, and we just got here.
What's up? Gang, documentary part 3, ASAP Rocky, Clips, Nas and Primo, T.I. exhibit. Let's go.
Cervon, what about yourself?
I am looking forward to see what the game comes with on documentary part 3. I'm also interested in the Clips. I'm interested in ASAP because he did take a long hiatus off it. I didn't like any of the stuff that he released, I guess a single or whatever. I wasn't really too fazed by that, but I am interested in his sound and what he comes with. Because I haven't really been happy with ASAP's last projects. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I'm interested to see if it's going to be a Rihanna feature on there and how that will sound, you know. But I do like the Clips. I like the game. I'm willing to see what Nas is doing with his new album he announced. There's a lot of albums. There's some ones that I mentioned on our last show, and I can go back and bring them up. But those are the albums I'm kind of looking forward to and anticipating this year. I also see that Big Sean has a collab. There's a rumor he has a collab with Alchemist coming next year. So I'm actually looking forward to what that sounds like as well. So that's what I have.
For me,
but Alchemist, go sit with
JID. For me, Metro and JID, I want to see that actually, come together because I want Metro to be able to make an album with an MC, on that lyrical level from end to end. And the other thing is the game documentary part 3. But the biggest, I want to see J. Cole have the kind of year that Kendrick has had this year, and to see if that is going to be possible in 2025, because whether people want to admit it or not, and obviously J. Cole's legacy is solidified, but if he doesn't make that mark in 2025, I don't think that's going to happen. I think his career stays where it's at.
Super duper.
For me, it's I'm looking forward to just the new music. Period. I don't have no major anticipations from nobody because I feel like once you anticipate, you get geeked up about something that's coming out. You get missionary, or you get
expectation.
You get something that disappoints you, is what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna keep an open mind for 2025. That's really that's my lesson of 2024 when it comes down to hip hop. I think a lot of newer stuff, a lot of underground artists, and a lot of people that I wasn't up on last year, I've been put up on now. So I'm just looking forward to seeing who's gonna take the next step moving forward. Like other than the Kendrick Lamar, and I mean, if we knocking Drake out the way, somebody got to come in and step up next. I mean, all these guys, they getting old as hell. I mean, Future 40. Kendrick 38, Drake in his 30s. Like it's time for somebody to take that next step and and come in and change the game. We can't keep talking about Drake and Kendrick for a whole nother year without like, you know. So I'm just looking forward for somebody else to come out, seeing what's next and what's new.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, my prediction is Nas' premiere doesn't drop, but a new Jay-Z album does. And Jaguar Wright seems to be winning the Hater of the Year poll.
And Cervon, before you go real quick, sir, I just want to give him a real quick point before Cervon goes when we wrap up. I want to say I'm anticipating J. Cole's album. I'm anticipating the Mos Def and Alchemist joint, the Alchemist and Big Sean. And that's really I'm anticipating Bully by Kanye. So Cervon, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, that I was gonna say there's some other ones that's coming that I didn't mention too, and that's one of the ones I want to see what Kanye does on Bully. I'm not a fan of the Vultures projects, so I want to see what he does on Bully. I also want to see what a J-Rock project sounds like. He's supposed to be dropping next year. He's one of the ones from TDE that hasn't dropped this year, so I'm interested to see what a J-Rock album sounds like as well. And you know, there's one other JID supposed to be dropping an album with Metro Boomin. You know, looking forward to what that sounds like. Damn, I said 2 more, it's 3 more. And I'm looking forward to what a Cardi album sounds like. To be totally honest with you. There's a lot of pressure on there. She stalled. The first album was, you know, solid. It was complete. I'm really interested to see how she approaches this album when people kind of already know what bag she's been in. So, in her pressure of it, I really want to know how she pushed the needle and kind of top what she was doing. And one of these underrated ones that I think that a lot of people are not kind of checking for in a sense is the new T.I. album. I think I want to hear how he approaches it. And to Super's point, a new album that pushes the needle, who will be the new next wave of rappers. Baby Keem's supposed to be dropping an album next year. So I want to see what that sounds like too.
All right. And we want to appreciate the rest of you guys out here, man, for rocking with us in 2024. Look forward to 2025 and look forward to, you know, all of the wonderful things that we're going to bring to the table, man. Thumbs up in the chat, like and subscribe. And everybody have a happy new year, man. I appreciate the panel here. We're going to put these results out here and for these awards, man. I think we did pretty good today, though.
We did. Alchemist, is it okay if Dr. Dre works with Alchemist? Is that okay with everybody?
He doesn't need
that.
Who has a problem with that?
You need to work with somebody.
I've been waiting 20 years
for a long time, man.
For them to be in the same room. Can Alchemist and Dr. Dre please be in the same room just one time for me? And that's it.
All right. Well, I will holler at y'all, man. Happy New Year, everybody.
Salute, fellas. Salute.
Peace.
Peace.